recording? Alright. Alright guys, what is up? Welcome to episode 3 of the HexTcgPro cast, where we'll be talking about the top cards in each shard and gems. Girl's best friend, right? Diamond is April's favorite
Diamonds,
color.
yeah.
Cool. So with me is the original cast of experts. We have Charles in the middle and Sean on the right, and we have John Town on the left. I wouldn't really call him an expert. I call him more of like, a little loser who finds his way on the show every week.
At least he has a webcam this time.
Yeah, right.
I pay these guys to let me in, so.
Yeah. I think.
Wait, we're getting paid for this?
Yeah, right. Wait, how do we
You
get
didn't know about that?
I think John found a webcam in the dumpster behind his house somewhere. Like, looking pretty good, Sean. All right, guys. So, Charles, do you want to start off with any kind of information? I don't know if you had any information this week or not.
Nothing really crazy has been going on.
Nothing.
Just finding some more glitches, running some more stuff. I think people have gotten a lot calmer after
The second wave got in.
The second wave got in. It feels like the community is a lot calmer about all that stuff. Beyond that, I mean, we're going to talk about it later. We had that big announcement with the gems, and
Sure.
I know you're going to be pulling that up. And do you have like the old list too, where it has like what we thought the gems were going to be, and then what they are now?
Yeah, I'm sure I can find it. I'm sure I can find the old list.
If not, I can find it. Yeah.
If you want to, that'd be good. If you want to actually do something, that'd be great.
I would like to do something. I'm a contributing member. I'm important.
Sure. Once again, thank you, Stata, for the overlay. I think he's working on another overlay too. But this is
Yeah, I don't love this one.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's better than what it was before. If it's like Skype hanging out, like
Right.
cutting off the orc's head, and we had like
Working on a
it's shit.
few more.
I'm not gonna
Like
lie.
I'll link it in chat if people actually want to see it. But that one right there is going to be my my new one for when I stream. So that's I like it a lot.
poke report.
The purple one, yes, I'm keeping
For
that
sure.
one.
Also, D. Weber is in the channel. We want to thank him once again for doing the Hexbot. If one of you guys want to do a little demo of the Hexbot, that'd be awesome. But he is a great guy. Did some good stuff. And I think we saw Soldak in the channel as well. For some reason, I think Soldak had something going on like that.
Let's see if this is fixed yet.
What is this? Oh, it's aha.
I'm still not there. Alright, cool.
Go gems. Get this thing situated here. Alright, cool. I'll tell you what, some of these gems, the old gems were like way cooler.
Well, some of them were.
Oh, the resource destruction one, obviously.
I know, it was the coolest.
Resource destruction one, and then the one where it's the battling target troop one.
Wait,
Although
what's
that kind of
points?
got moved to Ruby, didn't it?
What? What got me through?
I thought that the one that's like where your troop comes into play and it battles the target troop, that one got removed from Wild, and I think something like that got moved to Ruby or something, if I remember. I have to look.
Oh, okay, cool. What do you guys want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about the gems, or you want to talk about the cards?
We can talk about gems real quick. I mean,
Alright.
that shouldn't be.
Okay, so
Too
we'll talk
in-depth.
about gems first. Let me. We'll go over the new gems first and kind of talk a little bit about the difference between them and the old ones. Let me. Let's see. Is this one? Yeah. Oh, first try. I'm actually surprised. Okay, so We'll start with Wild. We have the two minor gems there, are cost -1 and Spell Shield. Obviously, one requiring one Wild Threshold, the other one requiring 2. That's I like how they set up the gems now, though. How like you have a minor with 1 threshold and a minor with 2, and then the same thing for major. I think that's a lot cooler. Like it's a
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it has like a theme going about it, which is pretty neat. So, what do you guys think of the wild, the two wild minors? Cost -1 and Spell Shield.
Well, the cost -1 doesn't actually even work right now, but
Yeah.
But the spell shield, I've actually seen people put the spell shield one into like a major slot, which I mean makes a lot of sense to me. I think spell shield's very good.
Yeah, I think it's better than minor for sure.
Right. Yeah, Spell Shield, it's kind of funny to me to see Wild get that, as that would typically, I would think, be a Sapphire thing, for Magic terms. But again, this isn't Magic, and they're kind of changing the paradigm on us. It's interesting. Sometime we should probably talk about the color wheel in Magic and how it is that really doesn't even apply to Hex at all right now. Like there is no real color wheel, to this game, where it is that, like in Magic, if you had like Diamond, which is typically white, its allies would be Sapphire and Wild, and so like Diamond's going to have things like life gain, while Wild and Sapphire might get some sort of life gain. Or like Sapphire's going to have a lot of flying, so Diamonds would get flying, and then Blood would be the neighbor to Sapphire, and that they would also get flying. But they're completely like breaking that paradigm by doing some of these things the way they're doing them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree. But yeah, like I think cost -1's fine. I mean, it's never a bad thing to make one of your things cost 1 less, especially if you're ramping. I mean, it's whatever. It's not a big deal. It certainly fits the theme of Wild. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
And also they do Spell Shield does fit with Wild. It's not as good a fit as with like Sapphire, but there are definitely, in terms of like green for Magic, there are definitely multiple creatures, especially troll creatures, that actually just had like Spell Shield and Shroud. So it's not something that green like just did not have any of.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like old Thrun, right? He had it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. He had it, and
Troll
Regenerate.
Yeah, so
I mean,
right.
it's like green started it in Magic with Troll Static. So I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think that Spell Shield necessarily needs to be a color, pie thing.
True.
Like, I think it's fine for like every color to have it. Right now,
Sure.
3 out of the what 5 do. Like,
well, blue has Spell Shield
and Diamond has it?
troops.
Green has it.
Green has Spell Shield troops.
Diamond
It
does.
I don't think Diamond does. I could be
Ruby
wrong,
shouldn't.
but
I thought Diamond did
it's-
have one.
I want to say Diamond has 1, maybe.
yeah. Well, Diamond has some invulnerable ones. I don't know. I'd have to go through
Have
again.
the
But
01 invulnerable.
like I know for sure that it's Sapphire and Wild, but there might be a Diamond one too. I'm not really sure, but there's certainly none in Blood or Ruby right now.
All right, cool. Yeah. Not Blood Ruby. That's fine though. All right. Well, speaking of Blood, let's move into their minor gems. Rage 1 and troops in combat with this troop have -1/-1. It's a pretty interesting one. It's like what? That's like flanking, right?
Yeah, that's actually flanking, but like
Yep.
it's fine. Like I think the Rage 1 gem is going to get played more often than not, unless the troop is very, very defensive. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I like the Rage 1 gem much better personally.
Sure. Also, much easier to get the value off of it too. You know what I mean? It's only
Yeah.
one. It's only 1 blood threshold, so I like
Yeah.
that obviously much more. Anything for you guys to add about those 2 gems, real quick?
I mean, the Rage one is definitely good. I'll see it being played much more than the other one. I don't even think the other one will really see much play at all. So for like Blood Minor, it's definitely gonna be just Rage 1.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Blood got Rage 1 instead of Ruby, but other than that, yeah, it seems pretty good.
Well, I mean, a Rage is a Orc thing, and Orc is in both Blood
Right,
and Ruby.
more
so I
Blood,
could,
yeah.
I could see it. Actually, Rage seems more of a Blood thing in this game.
Seems
Right.
like it. Yeah. A little
Right,
bit.
yeah. Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, it's close, but I feel like Rage 1 and Blood makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. All right, so move on to Ruby. We have speed for 1, and this troop can't be blocked except by 2 or more troops in the 2 threshold. What do you guys think about those? I actually, I like the troops can't be blocked except by 2 or more. That's always a powerful effect for aggro.
Yeah, it's a Goblin War Drums effect, which was a Magic card, and they then made troops that had this effect in Magic, and it was very good for limited, but it didn't see much play in like constructed. So I think that this game is probably going to be like along the same vein, and I think that speed will be the one that most
Sure.
people use.
We know. I know. Like me and Aaron were working on a game I made, and I had an idea to make a card that was like almost like an enchantment, and all your creatures come in with speed. With basically haste, and it's unbelievable how powerful speed is as an effect. Like it doesn't seem like that it's that powerful. Like it comes into play, attacks, whatever. But it's so powerful. It's really it's devastating against control decks too. And they want that 1 turn to be able to deal with your creature, and so speed. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be better than this troop can't be blocked. But so far, that's also a powerful effect. I mean, the Raging Berserker or whatever, Magic had that effect too, and it got played in mono red a little bit.
Yeah, one of my favorite cards of all time was Fires of Yavimaya, which was you was an enchantment you would put in play, and everything got haste or speed, and you could sacrifice it and give something +2/+2. So you would basically put that into play, and then there was an enchantment that you could. It started with 7 counters, and every time you took a counter off, you put a creature in play with XX on it, depending on how many counters. So if you took 3 counters, you got 3 4/4s. Well, with that Fires of Yavimaya in play, you got 4 4/4s, 3 4/4s that had haste. So that was 12 damage. You do all in 1 turn. It's pretty strong back in the day.
Yeah, I mean speed's very strong. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, I like speed.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Diamond real quick. +1/+1 and Life Drain for 2. I think that they're both very powerful effects. +1/+1 on the card is very good. Life Drain is also very good. I think it's the cool thing about this is they're both good, but they definitely both have their uses. Like most gems, like in the case of the other ones, there's like a clear this one's better, but this one is actually versatile enough to be, sometimes you might want +1/+1, sometimes you might want Life Drain.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
I completely agree. I think both these effects are very strong. I've been using the +1/+1 more often than the decks that I've been playing, but it's it's very, very good.
Yeah, I mean the +1/+1 can get you get some of those cards out of burn range too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, I like it. Not really too much to talk about here. They're just both very strong, very good effects. Moving on to Sapphire, you may play this troop anytime you could play a quick action for 1 blue, and flight for 2.
Right. Those didn't change actually from the last list as I'm looking at them.
Yeah. They're the same. They just have like thresholds added on to now, and like I think both these effects are also very good.
Yeah.
I don't think that the quick action gem is in game yet, but
It's
the
not.
flight one for sure is.
Yeah,
So.
it's not, and I think that obviously Flash is very powerful, especially on some of these cards. Some of these cards are absurd with Flash,
Right.
like Warlock Inquisitor or whatever.
Yeah,
You can always end a turn in. It's always nice.
Sure. I mean that's really cool. Flash is why did this just pop up for no reason? So that's cool. I like both of these. They're both very powerful. So let's go on to the major cards. Start for Wild Major Gem. Start with Wild. When this troop enters play, target troop you control has plus power and toughness equal to this troop's power and toughness this turn. And for 2, when this troop deals damage to an opposing champion, create a 3/3 Rhino and put it into play.
Yeah, so like again, the double wild one is clearly better. Like,
Right.
I mean, the one threshold one is fine. I feel like what they're trying to do with these gems is if like wild is like your secondary splash color, you'd be less inclined to use the double threshold gems. I don't know if it'll work out like that, but that's kind of what they're pushing for. Like,
Yeah.
but
Right.
in my opinion, all of these gems have like one that's not playable at all, and the other one is like really good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of obvious which
Kinda
one
one of the-
you'd pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're trying to make, like you said, make the first major, splashable but not very good, and then the
Yeah.
second major more taxing but like very
But
good.
really good, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be one of the interesting things about the game when it is that you have that one threshold you needed to play whatever troop that's socketed, and then it gets to that late point in the game, you draw that card, and you're like, oh, well, I needed the double threshold to play and get this other effect, which I really needed to push me over the top, and it just doesn't happen for you.
Sure. I mean, obviously the major that makes that 3/3 Rhinos, obviously pretty good. I mean, I don't know what their fascination is with the Rhinos, but
Yeah, well, like also the problem with the Rhino Major Gem is that by the time you could socket it into like a troop that has a major slot, so let's say for example like Battle Beetle, I think is one of the cheapest
Yes,
major
yeah.
gems for
Okay.
green. Like it's a 6-drop. Like I don't know on turn 7 if making a 3/3 Rhino is like going to be that exciting. So like maybe you'd want to use the other major gem for him to pump like
Sure.
some other attacker. Like I don't know.
It gives you flight. I mean, or I'm sorry, it gives you a blocker, which is nice, kind of like Drag Tusk, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean it's turn 7 by then, like at best, like maybe 6 if you use like a Howling Brave to put him out faster. Like by
Or you
that
could get
point, you're already looking to put the game away. So,
Right.
Like, I don't know.
You could turn 3 him, but
Turn
Right,
3. Well, sure. I mean you can. yeah.
right, yeah. I mean,
Like
it's possible.
I'd rather play Fist, but sure.
Right, yeah. I mean, you could play, yeah. I mean,
It's an
depending
option.
on what you're drawing, but
Yeah.
yeah, obviously you'd rather play the fist.
All right, so move on to Blood real quick. When this troop enters play, it deals damage equal to its attack to target champion. And then for Double Blood, when this troop deals damage to an opposing champion, that champion chooses and discards a card. So both are neat, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the come into play effect that makes it, your troop deal damage equal to its attack, I think is better. Once again, in my opinion, the easier to use gem is better than the double one. But I don't know if you guys agree on that or not.
Mostly. Like I
Yeah.
think right now because Warlock Inquisitor or Zentos Inquisitor is like the most played blood troop with a major socket in it, and he's of course is much better with the one threshold major gem. But like I think once we see more troops, if we can get like another card similar to Warlock and Inquisitor, but maybe with a slightly different effect with some evasion or something, that like the double major threshold gem would be very, very good. So because the whole discard thing is very powerful. It's just
Yeah.
I don't think you can get it online fast enough to make it really worthwhile.
Sure.
Right.
I agree. I agree.
That's what I'd be worried about with that. I mean, it's kind of like playing Abyssal Spectre. Abyssal Spectre was like what it cost 4 or 3. I mean, that's decent, but you know, if we're gonna get this thing online, there's a good chance against a lot of decks that they're not gonna have cards in hand unless they're playing control. So it feels like that's more of something I would want to side in, which could be another interesting thing. We could have cards on our sideboard that are gemmed differently, and then you could side in those. So it's the same card, but it's just gemmed differently to deal with different threats.
Yeah, Soldak, is there going to be a low casting cost troop that can socket major gems? Right now, we haven't seen anything like that.
Not in set 1. There's
sure
not
there will be
anything
eventually.
there. I mean, it
Not
doesn't
likely.
even have to be that low cost. Like 3 cost is fine, but like you have to give it some kind of like evasion or like ping ability or something. Like Warlock Inquisitor, it doesn't have any like evasion, so putting this gem in there, like you're not going to make your opponent actually, pitch any cards because he's a 3/1 with no evasion.
Right.
So
I would almost like for them to take this major, like these 2 major gems, and like add 1 more threshold to them and make them minors, or something like that. Like something so like you can actually socket it into something like the
Yeah.
you know what I mean, but like it's still really taxing to your deck to do that. But like at least
maybe.
something as an idea. But anyway, moving on to Ruby. When this troop enters play, it deals damage equal to its attack to target random opposing troop. It has the word random in it, so that can go right straight to hell. And then the 2 Ruby threshold, when this troop deals damage to an opposing champion, gain 2 temporary resource points. I actually don't like either of these major gems, but I'll let you guys talk about them and go a little more in depth about them. What do you guys think?
I don't hate the first one. Like I don't like the second one. Gaining 2 temporary resource points seems kind of meh. But the 1 threshold major, like to minimize the randomness, like you just have to make sure your opponent just has like 1 troop in play.
Yeah.
So there's things like that, like kill their other troops and leave 1, and then do something like that. Like
Sure.
just try to make it as least random as possible.
It's a little bit better than fighting overall because the troop's not going to deal damage back. So like if we have Battle Beetle and I'm in both Wild and Ruby, then I can just look at the board state and say, well, there's not too much that has 6 toughness. That has more than 6 toughness here, so it's going to kill something. It may not be the thing I really need it to, but if they only have 1 creature in play, obviously it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with the stream, guys? One of my buddies
You just flipped over for some reason.
I did because one of my buddies just sent a message that said there's something wrong with your stream, but I'm not seeing anything wrong with it.
No, it's been fine. I've been watching it.
Yeah, it seems fine to me.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. All right, I just as soon
And we're
as
gone.
and we're off. Okay. I'm sorry. I just had someone say that. I went to check it. Everything seems to be fine.
How'd you get Skype guests?
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so moving on to Diamond. When this troop enters play, your champion gains health equal to its defense. Your buddy is trolling you. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. So that. Anyway, when this troop enters play, your champion gains health equal to its defense. And then the second one says when this troop deals damage to an opposing champion, troops you control get permanent +1/+1 permanently. Which I think is the best major we've seen so far.
That is a crazy effect.
Yeah. Both like I think Diamond overall has like the best gems, but
which kind of makes
both,
sense if you think about it. Like it's okay. I think it's okay for them to be like the gym caller. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
since their cards kind of suck, but both minors are very playable. Both majors are very playable. I actually like the 1 threshold major with the 2/4. That when he comes into play, like you gain 4 life or gain life equal to his toughness, and then with a 1-shot ability, you can bounce him. Like that. Like that's really really strong with that gem. Like to be able to gain like at least 8 health is very very strong.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about it once we get into the cards. But I've been playing that Blood Diamond deck, and the amount of health you can gain is absurd. You know what I mean? And that just adds another way to do it. So cool. All right, Diamond, you're the best. Moving on to Sapphire, the last caller, and my favorite gem caller is number 1 here. Whenever this troop enters play, each opposing champion buries cards from the top of the deck equal to this troop's combined attack and defense. That's pretty cool. It's attack and defense. And the second one is when this troop deals damage to an opposing champion, draw a card, which is my favorite gem. You guys will learn this about Dusty is that he likes to draw cards. So anything that says draw a card, I will try to use it at least once. So, what do you guys think about the Sapphire gems?
Yeah, the two
think they're
threshold one's
respectable.
really good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's really good. I
Right.
actually don't mind the milling one either. You know, it could find its place in the
Yeah,
some
I
sort
mean
of
it's kind of
sabotage.
scary. Like if there's a troop that
Like a
for some reason
4/4?
can get very large, like affect like the high two mortars or something like that.
Sure.
That's socketable, then it can be pretty dangerous. But
Right.
as it is now, like one of the best choices we have is like Battle Beetle will mill 10,
Yeah.
Eldritch Dreamer would mill 6. Like there's some effects like that. The Diamond 2/4 would mill 6. So just things like that. So
Yeah, I think Inquisitor is probably the best. I mean, I feel like you make like a black blue like sabotage deck. Gym Inquisitor with this, and you're milling 4. That's not too bad. That's something. You might
sure.
hit a.
I mean that's
You might
that's
hit
not the worst thing.
a booby
The
trap
big thing I
on
look
it
at
or
this
something.
is, and I remember playing like when mill was sort of a thing, was Hedron Crab. That was like when you land dropped, you'd mill your opponent. So attaching that mill effect to a creature that can block for you is really important for those mill decks.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I had to fix the
Okay,
thing
I was like,
there. Everybody just doesn't answer.
everyone's just like, whatever, Charles.
Shut up,
whatever.
Charles.
Shut up, Charles.
No
Get
one
out of here,
cares.
Charles.
Get out of
No
here,
one cares
Charles.
about your Hadron Crab.
Get the shit out of here. All right, cool. Guys, that's how we think about the gems. I think some of them are really good. Obviously, I think Diamond got the best. I'd say Sapphire is probably next as far as the good gems. But it's surprising to me that I think I like the minor gems more than I like most of the major gems.
I actually do too, for the most part. Like
Mhm.
there's a couple major gems that are really sweet, but like for the most part, the major gems aren't really that exciting.
I agree, and they're really restrictive too. Like I
Yeah.
think.
I like
Like-
the diamond
like-
one.
All the
If-
best ones are the double color.
The +1/+1 diamond one's pretty crazy.
If I was a player who really liked Ruby as a color, like I'd be pretty pissed off because all the Ruby gems are all just dog awful. So
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. There's Weber like destroying the Hexbot. All right, so let's move on to our favorite cards. Basically, guys, if you didn't know, I actually link it real quick in chat. Let me find
yes, if you didn't know, I spent my entire afternoon today, instead of working, I wrote a 4,000 word article just for you guys,
It's pretty bad.
and it was awful.
It is awful. You should not read it.
No, but seriously though, I've got a lot of really good feedback from it. Most people tend to agree with the majority of it, which is really cool. I think there was one guy, Jusum Jedi, who had some varying opinions, which I really, really appreciate. I always like to see the other side of the coin and what people have to say about it. So I mean that's awesome. I love to hear what you guys think. I like to see other people's lists to try to compare them, and it's.
And then disagree with you.
Also, before
I
we go
will
any
probably
further,
disagree with you, but
before we go any further, I meant to say this at the beginning of the cast, though. But guys, sorry we had to do this on Wednesday instead of Thursday because of Halloween. We thought it'd be best to just do it today. That way, people can go out and do Halloween things and be able to get it back in. There's a card on the Sapphire top 3 that shouldn't be there. Here we go. All right, so we'll start out with I think artifacts because that's alphabetical order. So we'll do that, and we'll start out with obviously the honorable mentions. Talk a little bit about them, and then move on. So all right, talk about with Surge Mechanism, which is a card I don't think people will understand why it's there. Also, if you guys can't see this card and don't know what it does, I'll read it to you. But you can also type in chat using the Hexbot, and you can type in the card's name with an exclamation mark in front of it, and it'll actually it's like exclamation mark card and then the card's name, and it'll tell you about the card and what it does. So that's another feature. Thank you again, Weber, for getting that going for us. You are the best. But anyway, Surge Mechanism is obviously an artifact, 3 cost. You pay 2 and tap the card and gain 1 permanent resource. Why is this honorable mention, John? Why did you put this in an article? What is the purpose of it? Why is that good? Because I mean, at face value, it doesn't look that impressive.
Sure.
Not a big deal. But why is it there?
it's a key component in the life siphon decks,
Sure.
and currently life siphon decks are absolutely absurd, and it's a pretty cheap way to ramp your deck into your key turn. So cost 3. up front with an investment of 2 a turn to gain 1 permanent resource each turn, and it's very underrated. I myself even thought it was terrible at like at first,
I
but then
remember when you removed it from my ramp deck.
yeah, like it. Well, I don't like it in that type of deck. Like I like it best in blood decks. So, but like I would play it most in blood decks. I don't think I play it in a wild deck, but it's very 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 solid card.
Sure.
So I'm a big fan. Now once we get Eye of Creation, I can maybe see it playing it in like a ramp deck, but currently probably just blood.
Would you play it if you didn't have Life Siphon in the game?
No. Absolutely not. Because then you wouldn't really have anything to do with your 100
all
resources.
that excess resources.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could also use that obviously the black red version is like a burn to the ground, a way to, like there's a couple other cards that works with, like John was saying, Eye of Creation as well. Obviously works really well with it, but this is definitely one of those cards that needs another card to go with it to make it really powerful. Which is, I think, when the first time we saw it, is why we rated it so low, because we didn't really, get an idea of what the other cards in the set. Like in a vacuum, we'll put it this way: in a vacuum, this card isn't that impressive, but in current form, it's very good. I have it, and every time I put Life Siphon in my deck, I put like at least 2 of these in the deck.
Yeah, I probably played. Like I think I've been playing 2.
Yeah,
So.
because I don't like having more than one. I mean, it's okay, but like I usually just laboratory them away anyway. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Oh no, I deleted the background. Fudge. Oh my gosh, wrong one. Search mechanism OP. How did it do that? Oh my gosh, where did the background go? There it is. Oh my gosh, that was pretty quick.
And we're done.
And I'm fine.
That's a good show.
All right.
Whoa, that was quick. Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty good. I mean, like, whoa, let's be honest here.
I mean, he is pretty quick.
Yeah.
You done did it now.
I feel like I'm the only person that would call myself really good after I just deleted the background. I gave away the illusion. All right, so Eternal Guardian. This is a card that I was really surprised made your honorable mention because of how bad we talked about it when we first seen it. And I still don't believe it's that good. But I'm curious to see why you have it on your top list. And I trust that you made the right decision here, though. Anyway, 8 drop Eternal Guardian, flight, prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and your other troops you control. 5/5. I think the pressure's on you, John.
Well, no, like it's pretty simple, really. Like the more that I play Hex, which has been quite a lot lately, the more that I realize if you're not playing Blood, it is very, 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 very difficult to kill troops, especially ones that have 5 toughness. Mm-hmm. So cards like Inner Conflict are very, very poor against cards like Eternal Guardian, and that seems to be the best non-Blood spell that people are playing to deal with troops. So Guardian really goes a really long way against non-Blood decks. If your opponent is playing Ruby, it's very hard for them to kill this guy unless they point like a 4-point Rage Fire plus a burn, or they have to 2-for-1 to kill him, which is saving you quite a bit of health. So, and if you actually get 2 of this guy out, it's actually just a hard lock. They actually just can't damage you and can't kill any of your troops ever, unless they cast like Murder or like Extinction. It's a very, very powerful sideboard card, and I could actually see it making the main deck of some like green ramp decks even.
No, the only argument that I have with what you just said is I think it's either good like as a main card in your deck, or it's good as a sideboard card. But I think that like it's very easy just to sideboard in Void Key or whatever for this.
Oh well. People should be playing Chaos Key in their control decks anyway. But the thing is,
Dingler, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are ways to kill this guy, but that doesn't mean that like he's as bad because cards like Murder and
I'm not saying that I'm not saying fucking Chaos Keys in the game, don't play this card. I just mean I feel like this guy is much worse games 2 and 3 than he is game 1. If you have
if your opponent knows that you're going to bring him in out of your sideboard, then they can maybe plan for it. If you play in main deck, of course they can plan for it, but then you've already won 1 game, from him. So I don't know, he's really powerful, and I'm glad I put him in the top 5 basically. But
No, I think
Like,
it's really. I think it's a cool card. I'm not sold on it, but I do know like I was playing one of my viewers' decks when I was streaming last week, and they had like 3 of these cards in their deck. So I cut it down to like 1, I think, or 2. And actually, no, I cut it down to 2 and took out the other high drop they had in the deck. And actually, I played this guy out a lot of games, and just like he just 5'd them to death. I mean, they couldn't do anything. It happened, but I think that you could do that with the spell shield flyer and blue and do the same thing.
And like
You know
this
what I
is
mean?
another reason why Chaos Key is insane. I said it 3 months ago when the first spoiler came out.
Here's John
Chaos
Tana.
Key was
Before
insane.
the game was even made, I
You should
knew.
play at least 1 Chaos Key in any of your decks ever.
Right.
And like now people are like, oh cool, let's put 2 Chaos Keys in our green ramp decks and put Chaos Key in our black control decks. Like, yeah, I know.
Oh,
Apparently, he was the only one to ever think of that.
The only
when we
one
first
to
saw it.
ever think of that.
yeah, everyone
I
else
mean-
was doubting him the whole way.
Yeah.
Big thing I'm looking at
How they
Eternal
know.
Guardian is like everything, all the problems we have with Fist are the same problems we have with Eternal Guardian. So if you're prepared for Fist, hopefully you're prepared for Eternal Guardian. That's all I have to say there,
You're right.
really.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Charles. Like, it's not like this card is the only card that has like you have to kill it or you
Oh.
lose. Like decks are going to be prepared for it.
Well,
I would
it's
hope.
going to be harder than that, though, because the 3 main cards that can actually handle Fist probably have to be, what was it, now I'm just blanking on it. Mesmerize, Enter
Dingler.
Conflict.
Well,
And
eh,
neither one of those really do anything to this
Chaos
guy.
Key.
That's true. That's true.
Like
That's what you're saying,
Dingler,
though.
Chaos Key, Inner Conflict are like the
Yeah,
3 best
that was
ways to
right.
deal with.
Wait,
Fist.
how does Interconflict deal with this card?
Doesn't
this
deal with
card,
this
Fist.
card.
It doesn't.
It
Oh,
deals
I was
with
gonna say
Fist.
like, whoa, we got talking about. Okay, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. Okay, you're talking about Fist. Yeah, for sure. So like, I guess what, like, out of the 5 options you have to deal with Fist, 3 of them don't work, right?
Yeah,
No, one of them
basically.
doesn't work.
Yeah, like Inner Conflict. doesn't
Chaos
work.
Key works and Dingler works.
And Mesmerize doesn't work.
Mesmerize doesn't work.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this guy's pretty cool. I think it looks
Thanks.
fucking cool too. Like,
I think the artwork is actually terrible, but
really?
I mean,
all
it looks
Terrio
like-
coming down there, like shitting on people.
it looks like a Pokemon.
Haterade over there.
I know.
Drinking all of it.
Yeah. Tell you what, you draw me that card and tell me it's fucking terrible looking. Like,
I don't get paid to be an artist. Like
Oh,
you pay me
baby.
money, and I'll draw a really
Oh,
cool Eternal
yeah,
Guardian
right.
picture.
I bet you it's fucking terrible. All right, so Chaos Key is our next card.
hmm
We talked about it a little bit, so we probably shouldn't spend much time on this card. But this is our top 3 card in the artifact slot. 2-drop Chaos Key, pay 5, void this artifact, void target card. It's a basic action to do this. Obviously very strong. Apparently, since about 3 months ago, I was trying to tell everybody they should at least put one of these in their deck. John was not believing me, was completely doubting me the whole time, and me and Sean were just trying to convince him that you should put at least one of these in your deck. So
You said it was sideboard only.
yeah,
like,
sideboard only. If
This
that,
card's terrible. Next,
Right.
next.
maybe one of in the sideboard. You know how he loves his one ofs.
yeah, no, this effect can't be interrupted. Right now, there's no like stifle now. But
Yeah, we need a stifle right
do
now.
need a
That's
stifle.
what we need.
There are a lot of
Or,
decks that don't want any of these. I completely agree.
yeah, like
Yeah.
mono red.
However,
probably
if
don't
you're
want.
Mono
playing
red.
mono green ramp or playing blood control, you should be playing at least one.
I agree. Not really much to say about this. This takes out the last card we talked about. Takes out Fist. There'll be a lot of cards that we talk about that will be like, this card will get beat by Chaos Key. It's basically a terrible Oblivion Ring, but very good. You need that effect, especially
Until we see Oblivion Ring, this is
It's
it.
like we don't have an Oblivion Ring effect other than this. So because of that, it is an amazing card
Well,
to have.
actually,
You need
there is an Oblivion Ring, but it's just not out yet. But it is in set 1. There is a 3 mana like Oblivion Ring.
Sure.
spoilers up in here.
I guess you guys
Sorry.
they didn't want to beat the story and find
It's
out
in
about
set 1.
I gotta put spoilers up in the title now.
Yeah, but it's good. I like that it's void target card. I think a lot of people forget about that as well. So there's you can hit like enchantments with it or constants or whatever the hell you want to call them, which is never really relevant, but whatever. All right, moving on. Moving on up to number 2, Secret Laboratory. All right, here we go. Secret Lab. What you up? 3-drop, pay 1, tap this card, draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So a little cycle action in on the number 2 slot, which like. We talked about this card a little bit in the spoilers as well. We weren't as impressed. I mean, we did talk, like, we acknowledged this card was at least good. We just didn't think it was good enough. Turns out, this is really good because of escalation and a bunch of other stuff. But, John, why did you put it in your list?
Like I was saying, it really pained me to put it there because I don't think effects like this are super powerful. But as it turns out, in this game, there just is no like card draw. Like there's very very little card draw, and even though this isn't technically card draw, like it's card filtering, which is essentially the same thing in the decks that you're going to play it in. So it lets you find life siphon faster. It just gets you to the cards that you want to draw much much faster.
Sure. I mean, I agree. I mean, with escalation and as a mechanic, it's really powerful to be able to look at an extra card each turn and get that escalation card, whatever it is, a couple a couple turns earlier. It's a very powerful effect.
Yeah, it's really good with escalation, certainly.
Sure. Yeah.
With cards like Escalation and Life Siphon, they're just like on such a higher power level than all the other cards in your deck. Like those are the ones you need. So it might as well just be card draw for you because you're just literally looking for those cards and throwing away anything else. Because that is what you're going to end the game with.
Yeah, Jake is also saying also synergizes well with High Tomb Lord. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want to discard cards. So that's pretty powerful. What's up, Rachel? Also, it's very good with like Pack Raptor and the Ancestors Chosen too. You getting those guys out earlier is also very good.
Maybe even Inspire one day.
Yeah, maybe even Inspire.
Maybe even one day.
It's. Honestly, I haven't talked with
Blessing
Dan.
in the Fallen never works.
I haven't talked with Dan since Gen Con. I haven't had a chance to talk to him anymore. But I'm curious if the mechanics we see now are going to be like is escalation a set thing, or is it going to be like, are we always going to see new escalation cards? Is Inspire a mechanic we're only going to see in this set, or are we going to see other Inspire cards?
I think we'll see more like Inspire and Escalation and stuff. I think that
they can always give things breaks and then they can come back.
Sure. Because I mean,
Secret Lab.
Inspire is for sure a mechanic that gets stronger the more the more sets to have it in. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to our number one, Mr. Big Stacks. Number one. You guys can keep talking about it. I'm just gonna.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, just the only other thing I tag on is like, late in the game, Secret Lab is just really good when you're top decking resources and you're sitting there bluffing with resources in your hand. You top deck that Secret Lab, now you can actually look for a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's something else too that happens far too often is newer players to CCGs and people who are maybe a little less experienced is they will just play resources just because. Like they'll have like 10 lands in play and they'll be like, cool, drew a resource, play it. Like, don't do that. Like never.
It's worst.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you want to
cast
bluff
every card in your deck. You want to bluff them.
You want to bluff whatever you can. Like if you're playing like a Ruby deck and you have 10 lands in play and you draw a card, like don't play it. Like don't play your land. Bluff like a Burn or a Ragefire. We can't really put bluff Ragefire because of sorcery, but like something, or hold it for Secret Laboratory. Like I've seen people like play Secret Lab in their deck and they'll just still keep playing resources over and over and over again, and like that's a really bad habit and you really want to try to break it.
Right. And you'll even notice, like on my streams, when I'm doing things and I'm playing resources and I'm like at 7 and I'm going to play that 8th resource, I'll usually give you a reason. I'll be like, I have to play this because such and such creature is in play and I need him to be a 4/4, or I need to play this because I know I have an 8/8 in the deck. And I will usually give a reason. But yeah, that's technically a play mistake in my book.
I will say though that Hex has really changed that a little bit. I mean, like there's a lot of cards in the game that actually get better if you play resources, like Gas Troll, for example. You have Wild Root Dancer. Just having Life Siphon in your deck.
And the Champion powers.
I'll play out every resource I have in a Life Siphon deck. I don't give a fuck if I have 15 mana. Like, that's almost going to 15 you. So there is some decks that, you obviously want to play your resources out. And I think that's one of my favorite things about Hex so far, is they've taken a lot of those stereotypes from Magic and actually, kind of turned them on their head. Like Mill, for example, is terrible in Magic. And you cannot convince me that it's not. But in Hex, it's actually playable with Sabotage. It's not necessary. It's not obviously tier 1, but it's still much better than it was. Just life gain, just gaining life, is unbelievably better in Hex than it ever was in Magic. Like having Eternal Youth as an escalation card is unbelievably powerful.
Yeah. So to kind of address what Dave's saying in a chat here, like a really good player will play around as many cards as possible. So if I'm playing against someone, not saying that I'm a super awesome player, but if I'm playing against someone and they didn't play their resource, for the turn, I'm going to wonder what that card is. So if they're playing wild, I'm going to think to myself, okay, if that's wild growth how do I want to attack if that's wild, or how do I want to make these blocks, like just things like that. That really goes like a long way. Maybe I overanalyze everything, but I don't want to get blown out by some random +8/+8 card. So I'm going to play around everything that I possibly can.
Right.
Yeah, a good example of that, and like I don't really have a good hex example of that right now, but as a good example of what you're talking about is I was playing Hearthstone yesterday with Cole in chat, and me and him were playing, and he was practicing his Paladin deck, and I made a Mage deck or whatever, and I was at 4 life, and he was at like 12 life or something. So I was like, all right, cool. The only way I can lose this game right now is if you draw a sword, which is like a sword, you equip it, you deal 4 damage. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Frostbolt you so you can't attack me next turn. And the next turn, like his next turn, he drew the sword. And like equipped it and was like, good game, man, you win. And it's very easy for people to like not make that choice and get killed by the top deck and then blame the top deck. Be like, of course you drew the sword, lucky. But you can always play around stuff, and good players will. Like good players will try to play around as much stuff as they can, and like John's saying, holding cards back makes them just keep thinking like, what card is that? What do you have in your hand? What like should I play around Wild Grove? Should I play around Sapphire Aura? Like maybe it's a murder. Like maybe I shouldn't play this guy out. Like, and it's very like it makes them think a lot. And like a lot of high level Magic players said, the more you can make your opponent think, the more they'll make mistakes.
Right.
So like I don't know.
Yeah. The best Magic players in the world, some of them are some of the best poker players as well.
Sure, yeah.
Like real poker players that make a lot of money, a lot more in Magic.
Sure. You're very, very, very true with that. Anyway, moving on, our number 1 artifact card is Shards of Fate, which is technically a land, but, whatever. It's an artifact for this discussion, because we're not going to have, like, a category of lands.
At least we think it's colorless.
Sure. Anyway, Shards of Fate.
Every color.
It's basically a land that whenever it comes into play, you choose any a threshold, and then you don't get a resource that turn. You have to wait till next turn to get your resource. So it essentially comes into play tapped, and you get a threshold of anything. John, is there anything you want to really say about this card? I mean, obviously it's going to be a staple in a lot of decks.
I mean, not really. Like we've talked about this card quite a bit, and it is what it is. It's essentially it's a resource shard threshold fixer, and like it'll be 4 of in a ton of decks.
I think it definitely makes two color decks almost. Like for sure, you're for sure going to play 2 color decks with a card like this in standard. Like you could get a way of playing like 1 color decks now because they're going to be a little more consistent, obviously, than 2 color decks. But I think this card's going to make it a lot more beneficial to go 2 colors.
Yeah, the monocolor is going to be faster right now, but other than that, that's all you're really gaining.
More consistent for sure. So, Sean, anything to add in about Shards of Fate?
Not really. Like anytime you want to play more than 1 color, you need fixers, and this is our only fixer right now.
Yeah, which is great for the game, by the way. Like the ability to play more than 1 color consistently is very good.
Now, if we really need like more than this, we actually like start exploring like 3 color decks on a regular consistent
sure.
like.
Yeah,
but,
which is awesome. Like I think that was WoW's biggest problem. Like their trading card game is their game was so like you had
open.
Yeah, it was so like closed. Like you had Horde and Alliance cards and different heroes, so it was like you couldn't like there wasn't very much variety in card and like decks. So a card like this is necessary, I think, in card games. So moving on to our Blood honorable mentions, we'll talk about Zombie Plague, which I think is definitely one of my favorite cards in the set, and I actually added it in the honorable mention because John didn't talk about it. And I think he's very wrong for not including this card. I think this card is very, very powerful, and even in our interview with Dan, he said it was one of the most powerful cards that they have been playing with a lot. So, like, I think it's very good. It definitely will shut down certain decks like immediately. Like just having, if you get this card out on turn 2, and we still have not seen any way to get rid of Constance really. So,
Chaos Key.
Sure, Chaos Key. I think sure. But I mean, like this card, if it gets out and gets going, it's a very, very powerful card. It has the ability to shut down aggro decks pretty quickly, and also just like other control decks. Like if you have just a couple win conditions in your deck, this will actually just siphon them out and kill them. So I don't know, it's a very powerful card. The only downside to this card, I think, is the fact that if you draw in on turn 7 or 8, like you're pretty pissed about it because it doesn't do anything then. So, John, Charles, Sean, anything else to add on this?
I hate this card. I really don't want to talk about it.
Well, you're a noob, so.
No. Seriously, they did change the card.
It's a lot worse now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much worse now. But now the way it works is you just reveal 3 random cards from your deck, and each troop that you know show is -1/-1. And
Just the
if
troop,
it's
not
strength,
all versions.
right? It's just that card that you show is -1/-1, and if it's health of 0, you make a zombie still and all that.
Sure.
But like it makes it possible now to just whiff with zombie plague, which
Right.
I think keeps it from being a main deck card like ever. But like I can see it being a pretty decent sideboard card against like red green aggro or something. But but even still, like against that deck, if you somehow just like whiff, then like you just skipped your entire second turn and you probably lose the game. Like that's why
It's gonna be bad. It's not gonna affect their hand at all, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so I'll be
That's
honest.
kind
I don't like evaluating the cards off of the notes that we saw, like in like basically data mining, because like they haven't announced that. Like as far as I'm concerned, Zion Plague still does what it says it does. Until I see the card in the game that it doesn't do that, like I'm not gonna say it. Obviously, like that version of Zion Plague is much worse, but that's also like we don't know for sure that's how it's gonna be. But if it stays the way that it is, that it was spoiled, in my opinion, it's gonna be very good. So, anything else to talk about with Zion Plague?
No.
Nope. All right, cool. So moving on to the Inquisitor as our next runner-up. I think that was our next runner-up.
Yeah, Warlock Inquisitor.
Yeah, it was, okay.
Or Centaurus Inquisitor. I'm sorry. I'm still gonna call this card like
Warlock Inquisitor,
yeah,
for sure.
Warlock Inquisitor, like every time. So
For
you're
sure.
gonna have to get used to it.
I think it's good enough to be called Zentos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's no chosen. But whatever.
yeah. Kolaki says the spoiled version will never exist. I agree that the spoiled version is very powerful. I mean, to the point, like I said, Dan was talking to us at Gen Con and saying it was, one of the most frustrating cards to play test with, and also very.
Yeah. I mean, all of these cards that I talk about and mention the new versions of, like they're in the data files, like that are already programmed into the game. Like they're just not coded to be in the card list or
Sure.
anything yet. So
I mean,
we could say with some certainty that they're going to remain the way they are in the data files to a certain degree.
I agree. I agree that it could change, sure, but I think that until it's changed, it's very important that we don't just assume it's going to change immediately. Like
Sure.
Right. We still have a lot of time before beta, and then open beta, and so many different levels.
There's for sure a lot of time in the game. I don't see the problem of testing it the way it was first, unless their eternal testing just proved it being like completely broken, which is for sure. Anyway, so Xenof's Inquisitor says 3-drop, 2 blood threshold, 3/1, socketable major, which is a big deal. When this troop dies, put it into your hand, and it gets permanent +2 cost.
Mm-hmm. So this was really close to going into the top 3, but I think that like I only have one troop in the blood top 3, and I think Vampire King is just slightly better than Warlock Inquisitor. And in fact, I had a conversation with Neo earlier today, and he mentioned that he thought that the Inquisitor was much better. And while I don't really think that's true, I'm glad that people have kind of like different opinions on it. But he's super strong. I really like this guy. The socketable major is really good, and right now in beta or in alpha, like he is all the rage. Like everyone is playing Zentos and Inquisitor decks. So like I don't think he's OP at all. I think he's perfectly balanced. But he is very played, and he is a very solid card.
Yeah, I think in card games the one thing that people don't understand. Okay, I'll be in a sec. Thank you. But anyway, is what people forget is that just because a card is played a lot doesn't necessarily mean that it's broken. It's just good. Especially with one set like this, everyone's going to play just the good cards. And once more and more sets come out, you're going to see the cards kind of fade in and out. Like Life Drain, for example, might not be as played once we get more sets, going on.
Yeah.
So like currently, as the set goes now, he's very strong. I played against a lot of Inquisitor decks, and I didn't think ever that them playing that was ever broken or overpowered, or there's still like plenty of ways.
You realize when you cast it for 7, you're like, yeah,
sure, 3/1 for 7, whatever.
Yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like obviously it makes like certain cards against them kind of bad, but like using Inner Conflict for this guy is hilarious to me. Like like they sure they can cast them again if you extinction or something, but like that doesn't do anything. It's just a 3/1 that does whatever its major is if it has the come into play effect, and it does nothing else. So
yeah, but like see, like I understand what you're saying, and I can get on board with that to a certain extent. But like, even if you enter conflict this guy, like he's still already not lava axe, but lava spiked your opponent. Like I understand that you paid 3 for it and all that, but like he's still doing some work. Like
Sure.
he's still doing what he's in there to do, and that's to make it faster to life siphon your opponent out.
Yeah, I still think it would be a lot better of an answer just to use atrophy on him. Like that is probably the best
Yeah,
way
like-
to deal with this.
Or just
Sure.
play something with first strike.
All my blood sapphire decks
strike.
on alpha right now are like I'd switch to two mutates and 1 atrophy because this guy's played in like every deck, and I feel like those 2 cards are really good answers for him.
I love atrophy. It's like one of those cards that's getting better and better as the people are playing certain cards, which we knew would happen, and we talked about it. I also
Yeah.
kind of like mutate, but I wish it was not permanent. I really wish it wasn't permanent. I wish they'd change that to make it not permanent. But one more time, I wish it wasn't permanent. So, anything else to say about Inquisitor?
No.
Cool. All right. So that was number 3. We'll move on to number 2 in the blood, which is Extinction. No, that was actually our honorable mention. Number 3.
Yeah, 3 is Vampire King.
Yeah, 3 is Vampire King.
So Vampire King, in the current data files, he is a 3/4 now with flight and lifelink. So like that is a considerable buff in my
Yeah.
opinion. And if it stays that way, is going to be one of the best troops in the entire game.
I agree. I mean, like obviously, right now, like at 3, like okay, so he's one of those cards where like no matter which version sticks, he's going to be good, right? Like so, like that's okay. I feel like it's okay to evaluate him where he's at now based on both his current form and his last form. So like either way, he'd be in our top 3. Like I think we would all.
Oh,
What no?
Okay.
What?
sorry. No, I was
spam the chat.
I was watching this chat spam.
Oh no, they went to type in all the incantations. So
Oh. Okay. Anyway, so like Vampire King is really strong no matter what form he stands in. So like in his current form now, obviously 3 toughness is still pretty good. Like there hasn't been anything released or any card released that like makes 3 toughness like not feasible.
There's no lightning bolt still.
Yeah, exactly. So we're still good. 3's fine. Obviously, like making a 2/2 flyer every time something dies or every time one of your opposing troops dies or whatever. That's obviously good and on board with what Black wants to do or what Blood wants to do. Like as a 3/4 flyer with lifelink, I think that's also very strong and even further kind of goes into play of what the Blood wants to do currently, right? Like so we have like the Diamond Blood decks, right? Like those decks would love to have a 3/4 flyer of lifelink. That's fine, and also the blue control decks, like blue black control decks, also would like love to have that. I mean, I feel like he fits in both forms in either way. Like, to me, he's very strong.
okay, so someone mentioned that they thought the 3/4 lifelink version is worse than the current version, and like I'm actually just kind of curious why. If there was more targeted removal, then I could see an argument for that. Because with the new 3/4 version is you don't get the vampire till end of turn, whereas with the old version you would get the vampire like immediately. But I don't think that there's enough targeted removal other than like murder that would really trigger his ability. Like
They're saying the
main
new
phase or
version is
whatever.
legendary. Is that true?
I don't know. Is he? I mean,
Yeah.
even if he is, like I
It
I
seems
still
like
think it's
something
fine.
that could easily be legendary. And
Oh yeah,
maybe-
yeah, he's legendary now. Like I did miss that, but I still think that that's perfectly fine though. Like I don't know if I'd ever want like 2 and play anyway in case like someone casts like a a
right, because
roguelike
he's
or
gonna make.
something.
He comes with his own army.
Sure, Sean, anything to add to Vampire King? He has his drank.
He does have his drink. No, like I said, it's just a very good card, and I think it's even better as a 3/4 version. Like I think that lifeline's gonna be very important. Plus, it's extra defense added to it. Definitely a huge fan of this card.
I think he's really cool.
Mhm.
I've loved him since he's been released. I was the first one.
Next.
All right, next, Extinction. Number 2. So the big deal with this, when we first did this list, it's actually me and John's first videos way back in the day. We had Extinction in our honorable mention, and everyone's like, it should be in the main list. And our big reason why we said, nah, it's not main list worthy, because it's cost 5. And obviously, Cryptozoic watches our show every week, and they love it, and they listen to all the changes we suggest. So they were like, these HexTcgPro guys were onto something. Let's move it down to 4, which obviously didn't happen. But so like
Exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly what happened. They actually nerfed it back. I mean, actually buffed it to a 4 cost with the same effect, which is fine. So, okay, go ahead. But yeah, John, you talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to one of our very first videos where we built our Blood Diamond control deck, which was like several months ago, we had this card in there when it cost 5, and we were talking about it, and we both agreed that if this card cost 4, it'd be very, very good, and certainly probably a 4 of in most decks like that play Blood. And here we are, the card costs 4, and it's a 4 of in every Blood deck. I mean, every control / maybe mid-range Blood deck. And I think that it's a perfectly fair card, and I think that it had to cost 4. The reason is that if it cost 5, I think that aggro would be a little bit too powerful, and it'd be able to, like, because the red-green deck right now can kill on turn 3. So, like, when you have a deck like that, you really can't have a 5 cost, Wrath of God, because it just won't be that playable.
Sure.
But like at a cost 4, it's much more reasonable, and I think it'll be a staple for quite a long time, in the future of the game.
I mean, you were talking about the Blitz deck. I'm sorry. Anyway, we talked about the Blitz deck, right? Killing people on like turn 4 and shit. So like, if this cost 5 and you had a whole nother turn to attack, for sure, like it would be really annoying to play against like Blitz deck. It would make them, I think, like you said, a little too powerful. So the fact that they moved it down to 4, I think, was needed, and I'm sure they probably saw that in their playtest. You know what I mean? Like they were playtesting. They're like, aggro's a little too strong. Let's move this back down to 4. Let's make this a Day of Judgment, basically. So Sean, anything else to say?
Yeah, it's Day of Judgment, and it is completely needed in this game. Otherwise, aggro would just run over everybody.
Yeah, which is fine. I think with a card like that in the game, you can allow aggro to be a little bit stronger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you have answers to a quick aggro, then it's fine to let them be quick. Mm-hmm. So you either have to keep it at 5 and then make aggro not as quick, which is kind of unfun, or make the answer come out earlier, which I think is fine. Okay. So here we go. Going to Life Siphon. Also, yeah, I'm not going to unban him. I don't know who's asking me to do that, but I'm not going to unban him. Please, guys, don't spam the channel. We're in the middle of a cast. That completely defeats the purpose of doing this. All right, so, John, this is our number 1 card in Blood, which is Life Siphon. Deal X damage to target champion and gain X health, and the card costs X. So what do you guys think?
I've talked about this card enough, I think. I think that it is the best card in the entire game, and I really don't think it's close. Like I know Jusum Jedi, I think is his name, was talking in the comments for the article, and he thought that a very simple life drain card shouldn't be the best card in the entire game, and I was exactly like him when I thought about the cards and Magic terminology.
Sure.
Like, in a Magic world, this card is very mediocre. However, when you're talking about it in terms of Hex, this card is quite powerful, and I think that Life Siphon decks are the best decks in the game right now.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I have 2 versions of Life Siphon decks I play a lot. I play obviously the blue-black version and then the white-black version, and both are very fun to play. And it's really neat to be able to I'm not gonna say neat, but it's very powerful to do absolutely nothing all game and then still kill people.
Yeah, exactly. I have won games where I've played 3 spells, 2 Life Siphons, and a Surge Mechanism.
Sure.
That's it. And I won the game very easily, actually. And it's just your opponent can't apply enough pressure. So my picture went away. I don't know why my picture went away.
I'm not sure either. I noticed that too. I think you got so excited about your
so excited I bumped my webcam and it broke. But but anyway, it's just
dumpster.
Exactly.
It's just how the way Hex works right now is that a lot of the decks just aren't fast enough to kill you by the time you can Life Siphon for 8 and then 9 again. So.
Right, and the life gaining wasn't work, so I kind of want to test it against some sort of life gain. like where you have creatures doing health stealing. You know.
But yeah, that's where old Warlock Inquisitor comes in play to deal some extra damage there, and plus Extinction kind of reigns on
Right.
life gain Dex Parade.
Sure.
So
Sean,
okay, so
anything to
hold
add
on.
on Life Siphon?
Not really. As long as it's not limited to Black Threshold, this card is amazing. I'm actually wondering if they might actually switch it at some point, but I doubt it.
You think they will? Do you think they'll change it so it only works on Blood Threshold?
I think that would be a fine change. Like someone's saying in chat, like if it was X plus 1, would it be like any worse? And the answer is no.
Not
Like,
by that. Yeah.
I mean, it would be
just
worse,
do one
but
less damage. Like it's fine. Like I think a good fix for it would be okay. So still cost X, still 2 blood threshold.
Okay.
Deal X damage to target champion and gain X life. I think if they changed it so that the life gain only keys off of your black threshold, it'd be like a lot more fair.
Okay.
Right.
But it's just like X damage spells are fine. Like they're always going to be in a game and they're always going to be fine. But when you add on a life gain effect to it, so now not only are you dealing 10 damage or so the average life siphon that I've seen in my games and in other games is like 7 or 8. So to deal 7 and gain 7 is a 14-point life swing for 7 resources. Like that is insane.
I mean, you're right. I think a lot of people are forgetting that like whenever this card is like literally double the effect because you're hurting your opponent for that much and gaining that much. So it's like literally a double swing. Like you don't only deal that much damage, but you gain that much too. So
Right, when you've got the
like maybe this card should cost double X. Like I don't know.
Yeah, when you got the control player at like 4, and then they place Life Siphon, it's just like they just put the game out of reach, and you're done. You're done.
Mhm.
sure. All right, cool. Anything else to say about Life Siphon? This card is a boss, and I think people are kind of forgetting just how good that card is.
I think I seem to remember like the last time I saw a Magic card that did this, it was like X plus 2 plus the black, so you had to pay 3 before you started even paying X, and that was like not playable at all.
Right,
I think it could target creatures.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Like, what's the version of this in Magic? That Corruption? Was that what it was called? Was
Yeah, this guy extinguished.
Well, there was Corrupt, but it was
that's it, Corrupt.
considerably different. But there was Exsanguinate, which was X and double black.
Yeah, double black.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, cool.
But the fact that it wasn't just X kind of makes
Yeah.
makes a big difference because by paying
It's all
mana
gravy.
in Magic, you're paying 2 extra mana basically. So
Okay. Well, moving on to the honorable mentions for Diamond, we have the monk here. I'm gonna pull them up as quick as I can. We've talked about this card a lot too. I think this card's very powerful. But John, kind of talk about the cards. I'm gonna start loading up the other versions of it real quick. So
sure.
The first,
This guy, I feel like he's still just as powerful as he ever was. They didn't change him at all. He's still, still the same. And, he's very vulnerable, but if you can flip him, he's extremely good. He's very good against wild decks. He's probably not so strong against blood or ruby decks, but against blood and other diamond decks, against wild and other diamond decks, he's extremely powerful.
sure.
No.
So some of his main form is very strong, and it's basically you get a tutor every turn. And currently that is very powerful with escalation and life siphon and basically the things Control wants to win with. Being able to Eternal Youth every single turn is almost unbeatable. I don't understand.
Then you could
how
just play
lose.
1, and it's not so much of a dead card,
Exactly,
which would be really nice.
You could play 1 in your deck, sure. But the effect he gives Control decks is so powerful. I mean, with escalation and life drain and stuff in decks, actually you basically play him out and you're like, oh, I'm getting beat by this, whatever, get the answer, kill you. It's so strong.
Yeah, you can toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. He's a toolbox. Sean, what do you think of the old monk here?
Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of him. The ability to run just a ton of one-ofs that just answer random things. You want to play 1 Chaos Key. Cool, and you need it for some reason, go get it. The ability is extremely powerful, and in a Control deck that can actually get this online, it will be very strong, probably almost unbeatable if you don't get it off the board immediately.
It's not even that hard to get online. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like the most difficult thing to get a line. Like, you literally
He's
just
super vulnerable in his second stage, though, because you can't
Yeah.
play cards to counter. I mean, that's a big deal.
Hmm.
Yeah, is John gone or is he?
No, I'm here.
Okay, you got your camera working again, bub. There's that.
Yeah, I don't know how it turned off. I just unplugged it and plugged it back in. So
That's weird. But yeah, you're saying his second form, he's pretty vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Like, you're right,
Yeah.
but you just play him out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you play him out that turn, so you're just like turn 4, play him next. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just flips. Like, you only like your opponent only has like a turn to deal with him.
Right.
yeah, well, I mean, it's just what I was saying. He's extremely good against wild decks and very good against diamond decks, and also very good against sapphire decks. So like against those 3 decks, he's going to be extremely powerful and very game breaking.
Sure. Cool. All right, well, that's him. That's the old airbender. Destroying stuff. And then our last honorable mention for Diamond, which is a card that I wish they would, I hope changes before they put him in, which is the Angel of Dawn. This is one of those cards that's just not fun. It's very, very powerful, but it's definitely not fun. Like I'll be one of the last people that you'll ever hear complain about top decking, but this guy is for surely a top deck card, and like one of those cards that I think is I think they're very unfun. Like, it's one of the big reasons why I quit playing Magic was because of miracles. Like, I just hated them. Like, I hated to like have the board locked up and be like, I win, and they're like, bonfire for 20. I got you. And it's like, cool. Like, you're real good. Anyway, so 5-drop, 4/4 flight steadfast. When you draw this card, if it's the first card you draw this turn, you may play it for free.
It's interesting to see that, because I wonder if you're going to have to do that during that upkeep before you, you know, exactly when the timing of that's going to be. With Miracle, like for instance, from a judging standpoint, obviously this can't happen in a digital TCG, but you would draw the card. As soon as you put the card into your hand, there was no way to tell if you had drawn it or not. So then you couldn't Miracle it. So you actually had to keep it separate from your hand to do it. Now, obviously, if it's in your draw step and you're drawing this card, you could easily hit a spacebar and go right past it. And I'm sure you guys have played the client, so you know how easy it is to miss your second main phase or miss a combat step or do all kinds of things by hitting that spacebar or whatever.
I mean, first of all, I actually don't agree with you and Neo. Is a 5-cost 4/4 of flight and steadfast that overcosted?
No, he's saying it's not overcosted.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa,
like
what
a
the
card
hell?
like this should be overcosted. Like,
No, I agree.
It should cost at least 6
cost
or
6.
7. Yeah, like
Okay.
6 would be fine. Like probably even 7. But what the hell is my cat doing?
Because it's a top
He's just
deck.
shitting on stuff in the background.
But no, like it's a Sarah Angel, and like Sarah Angel in Magic, you know, is the exact same thing except you can't play it for free, and it's just a 4/4 flight steadfast, and the card was basically never played in like standard, but it was a very good, you know, card for draft and sealed. However, this being able to play for free is certainly going to be a standard playable card.
I mean,
But like I hate the whole mechanic. Like I hate the whole miracle mechanic, and like I feel like this card isn't very fun to play against. But like I don't think it's that overpowered.
Yeah,
like I
okay,
think it's perfectly fine.
Someone in chat said, okay, where's it at? Oh, this card is statistically not OP in a 60-card deck. Sure, it's not, but there's still times where like it'd be different if it was like Wildebeest, where you had to like play it out and then it shuffled back into your deck and then you had to draw that exact copy again. Like, that's not OP because that's really, 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 really unlikely. But like drawing this card throughout the game is not that unlikely. I mean, sure, it is maybe not statistically OP, but like it's gonna happen. Like, there's gonna be games where like turn 1 they drop a resource, turn 2 they drop this guy, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is this guy? Like, it's gonna be really, really annoying, and like I don't understand. Like, that's not fun in competitive play. Like, this card would be fine if it's a PvE card, but as a PvP card, I don't think it's fun. It's not fun to like think you have your opponent in a good spot and they drop this guy out. Like, it's just not fun. Like, it's not a good mechanic. Like, I cannot say it more. It's like fucking terrible.
When's the soonest we could even deal with this guy? You can murder it. You can not really burn it. So turn 3. So it's already done 12 damage to you before you can deal with it. That's a lot.
All I know is I cannot wait to see someone go mid-combat, like, attack, and they're like, respond with Secret Lab, activate, draw this, play it,
Well,
kill
Just blow you out completely. Like,
it has to be the first card you drew this turn.
yeah, but on your opponent's turn it would be.
yeah.
Oh, on your opponent's turn. Yeah.
Trolls, man.
I remember actually watching that happen in Magic, where I think
With the mirror.
one of our friends had there was just a board, lethal board coming at him, and he just think twice, draws a card, Miracle's Terminus, takes out their entire board.
Sure, I mean,
It's the best thing to see and the most horrible rage-inducing thing to see at the same time.
They called
Yes.
the judge on that one, I'm sure.
Somebody made a good point in chat, which is something that I mostly, kind of agree with too, is there's not enough turn 2 spells that kill creatures, and I completely agree. I feel like there needs to be an edict effect, which is
that'd be awesome.
an effect that costs approximately 2, and it makes your opponent sacrifice a creature. I feel like something like that should really exist. So
There's really no sacrifice at all. I mean,
no, there's not in
forced
set
out
one.
sacrifice. There's sacrifice where I choose, but there's no
I
sacrifice
mean, even
where
Time
there's
Warp
the-
costs 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If there's a Doomblade effect or a Chainer's Edict effect or
Right.
just something like that can kill something on turn 2.
I think an edict effect would be awesome. I think
Yeah.
that's something
I agree.
Gary needs.
And that will give you something else to deal with Fist as well.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
the cool thing about this guy, you can time ripple it, right? If they bring him out turn 2,
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
be
time ripple.
time
Right.
ripple, fuck.
I mean, there are ways to deal with this card. It's not like, oh my god, I played this card on turn 2 or 3 and shit on my opponent. Things like that might happen, but statistically, it's not going to happen very often. And I don't think that you would build a deck where you're just stone cold dead to a 4/4 flyer on turn 3ish.
I mean, you're right, but aggro, right? How do they get around this guy? If you drop this turn 2 or turn 1 or turn 3,
To
It's
get
tough.
all the
You
inspired.
have to 2-for-1 yourself.
to get all the
you
inspired
don't want to
triggers.
fucking it just sucks. It's such a shitty. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's OP. It's just shitty. I hate having to
I'm
play around
right
this
there
guy.
with you. I think it's a perfectly balanced and fine card. I just don't like the mechanic at all.
No, for sure. I agree 100%.
I was about to say, that's the only thing good about it is that it's not an OP card. It's not like a bonfire.
Sure,
if they
sure.
start putting this effect on other cards that are really strong, like a bonfire or an Entreat the Angels, then it's going to be just completely miserable to play.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
and what Neo said, I would much rather see someone play this Angel on turn 2 or 3 than someone play a turn 1 Gastrol.
for sure, but he's bugged.
Even the not bugged version, he can still be a 3/3 on turn 2. It's not that hard to do.
Okay, so I'm trying. What I'm gonna say here, the last thing about. Well, let's say the last thing. You guys are welcome to talk, but is that the bad thing about Magic is they try to make their game so it's fun for people to play that are bad at it. Okay, does that
Right.
make sense? So them and their friends can sit around the table and bonfire each other to death, and they think that's awesome because they were going to get beat, but now they got a bonfire and they won. The cool thing about Hex is they have put themselves in the position where they can make PvE for those kids who don't want to be competitive. Does that
Right.
make sense? If you want to have fun and play with OP cards, then go to PvE and do that against the computer, and that's fine. But a card like this, I feel doesn't need to be in the game. This to me is a casual card. This is a card you make so casuals will have a chance to beat good players. But you don't need that card in Hex because they can just go do it in PvE. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but to me, that was one of the greatest things about Hex is they have a way to separate the casuals from the competitive players. And I feel this card's going the opposite direction. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I mean, you make a valid point. Maybe not to that extreme, but I do agree that this card should be a PvE card.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's
number
move on to
3.
something else.
That would be great if it was a PvE card, and then they could give it haste and make it a 7/7 and just
Yeah.
totally blow this thing out.
Yeah,
of the
whenever
water.
you cast it, an actual angel appears and blows you, and then you can. All right, so three drop Eternal Youth is our number 3 card. Gain 5 health, escalation on the 5. So this card is one of those cards where we talked about. Well, actually, we always said this card was pretty good, and we actually even had it in one of the first decks we built, John.
Yeah, the Blood Diamond
Yeah.
deck at 4.
Yeah. But this card's very, very good. I mean, I know I play a Blood Diamond version of a control deck that runs 4 of these guys, and I had one game where I started with 3 of these in my hand and drew 2 more by turn 5, and it was impossible for me to lose. I had over 100 health. I don't know how I lose the game. So, why'd you put it on your list?
Well, for one, I've said it 100 times, but Diamond is kind of underwhelming. But the escalation cards are all super powerful, and this is one of the better ones. I guess I can say that about all the cards, is that they're one of the better ones. But gaining 5 life is very mediocre. gaining 10 is pretty good, and gaining 20 and up is just absurd.
Ridiculous.
So, like, I've played games with like the Blood Diamond control deck that the third time that you play this card, which happens with like Secret Labs and Pact of Pains and stuff, like you just draw them, that gaining 20 life really just wins you the game. And I feel like a card that can just win you the game by itself is worth being in a top 3 list.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's pretty much how I feel about that card.
Yeah, it's absurd. Like, you're right. Like, you know, for surely in Magic, I'm not used to a life gain card being played, let alone being in the top 3 list. But, yeah, I mean, like, I've played this card multiple times, and I love it. Like, every time I play it, I'm like, ha ha ha, get shit on. It's like at some points of playing this card, you just, like, reset the game, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I'm almost dead, gain, 30 life. Like, oh, that sucks. Like, there goes all your hard work, try it again. Like, it's just very, very powerful.
Like, I don't know if anyone's ever played against the Blood Diamond control deck, but there is so much life gain in that deck that like
awesome.
it is near impossible to kill them. Like it
it's
is
awesome.
very frustrating to play against.
Especially like, you know, like I said before, I love drawing cards. So I have Pact of Pain in that deck. So I'm like, oh, at the end of your turn, draw 5 cards. Oh, I drew one of these guys, gain 20 life. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to beat that deck. Like, I don't know, you just gain so much life, and you can stabilize with like immortality and stuff. Like you can stabilize like to ridiculous.
Yeah, and it plays the defender now, the guy that comes into play and gains 4 life, and you can one-shot him to play it again for 4 more life.
So,
like, you can't kill him.
Well, I won't ask you that. I'll wait till I pull him up, but like we'll talk about that later. But I have a question about him. Like, hopefully I don't forget.
Sure.
Charles, Sean, do you have any more questions about, or anything else to add about Eternal Youth?
I'm still not a huge fan. I understand what it does. It's like it just resets the game. Doesn't really affect the board state. I mean, as far as like what's on the table. So like sometimes you might only play 1 or 2 of them. But other than that, I mean, you know, I've used it to gain over 1 million life. So when I was playing against the computer to see how far if I could get the counter to flip over. So that was fun. But other than that, you know, not a huge fan. Still.
Cool. I do think it's funny that the art, it looks like John. Like, this is how he stayed alive for so long. Like,
I knew that was coming. Somehow I knew that was coming.
This is actually John. Like every 300 years, he goes to this fountain. And he's like,
John looks like so many cards in this game.
I know, right?
There's so many old guys.
These are all my producer cards.
I guess actually, I feel like this is how John has stayed alive for so long. This is why he's immortal.
I mean, I'll say that I really enjoy this card. Like, especially with Pact of Pain, like you just feed into Pact of Pain and just draw so many cards, and it's really not even that hard to do. And you just draw more of these, and you just get to the point where you just ignore what your opponent is doing, what they have on the board, what they have in their hand. You don't care. Like, you are so far ahead of them in the life totals. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We still haven't seen a what is it called? Some sort of lobotomy either, though, to deal with stuff like this, and a sideboard. But
yeah, the only downside, like someone put in the chat, is that currently it doesn't shuffle back in your deck and go straight to the bottom, which is really annoying. But it makes it really funny once you start getting into like deck races, because you just hit like 4 in a row and it's really funny. But yeah, like that's the only problem with it now, which is obviously a bug and not how it's supposed to work. So, all right, so that's all Eternal Youth, Tata's secret to Eternal beautifulness. All right.
you put Tata's face on there.
It really already is.
I mean, they already did.
Yeah. So the second card here is His Majesty Rob Stark. Actually, I used him in the control deck too, and he's a lot of fun. He just used 10 people. This version of the card though is not how it currently is. He is not a 6/6. He's actually a 4/4 with Steadfast and
4/4 for 6 resources.
Yeah, 4/4 for 6, and Boulder Heart is
Is that also a 4/4?
But no, Bold Heart's is 6/5.
6/5, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 10 total damage.
Yeah, he puts 10 power worth of dudes in play for 6 resources. Like he is, he's very, very good.
Yeah, Rob Stark's pretty good.
Yeah, so Rob Stark and his Direwolf, which is named something I can't remember, which is very sad because that's like my favorite books ever. But the Bold Heart is currently bugged in the way that he doesn't actually prevent damage done to Rob Stark. So,
he is bugged, and like what's awesome is like no one, like when I cast it, like I realized he was bugged because the computer like fucking cheap shot at me. But like no one I've played against has actually
like tried to damage him.
Exactly, so it's been fine.
Yeah. So what's what this card does for diamond decks is pretty big, especially in like wild diamond, like sort of mid-range stompy decks. Is that you can play this guy as early as like turn 4 or 5, and kind of takes over the game. He's a very good attacker as a 4/4 steadfast, and he's also a very good blocker. So as long as you can keep Boldheart around, like he's super powerful.
It's Greywind. Is that his name?
Greywind. I am so sorry. Like I feel like I let down the entire world, but I'm very crushed. Thanks for pointing that out.
It happens every day.
So Rob Stark and Greywind. Sorry. So there you go.
Rob Stark. I think as long as they don't print like a wedding card, he'll be fine. Right.
Spoilers! Oh my God!
I don't know what
he just ruined everything.
The One Ring.
What do you mean? I don't get it. All right. So the best card in Diamond currently, which is almost hurts my soul to put this up here, is Protectorate Defender. There he is. 4-drop 2/4. Stockable Major, return this troop to your hand. 1 shot. So the question I had for you about this card, John, is what in the shit is 1 shot? That's
okay. 1 shot is once per game.
Sure. And that they did the same. They're going to obviously add that to the Phantasmal as well. I've had so many people ask me like, what is 1 shot? What does that mean? So I wanted to clarify that real quick. Make sure that is now official. 1 shot is only once per game, which I think is fine, right? It's fine that they renamed that to 1 shot. Whatever. Why did you put this as number 1 on your list, John? Like, why do you think he's number 1?
Well, it's certainly the best diamond troop, and it's there with King Gabriel, but I feel like this guy's a little bit more like versatile. But it's probably better than all the diamond spells as well, like the non-troop spells. And the reason for that is because he's Sockable Major for 4, and because he has 4 toughness, it fits perfectly for the life gain gem. So this card can essentially gain you 8 life, as well as block a very large troop to, essentially gain you more life. So he's a very big tempo swing, and because he's Sockable Major, you can put other things into him in other shard decks, and still make him, pretty solid.
Yeah, he's awesome. Plus, he looks cool as shit. Like, he looks like a little badass with that shield and got the wolf on it there. Like,
right. Yeah, like every time I look at this card, I'm like, so the 1-shot ability is him like your opponent like targeting him to like get rid of him because they don't realize that you can just return him to your hand, and then he throws up his shield and he just like returns to your hand, and he's like, "Yep, not even here anymore." So fizzle that.
Yeah, sure. Well, I will take what you just said away with like it's really cool that you can basically you get 1 chance to like make it so your opponent can't do anything about it. Like if you block something and they pump their guy, you could just 1 shot back so he doesn't die, or if they try to murder him or remove him in some way. Like there's ways.
Yeah, and like I saw some guy playing this guy in some sort of inspired deck where he had Kraken Guard Mariners and the Shield Trainer and a few other cards where he had this guy up to like a 2/6 or something, or like a 3/7, or I don't know. Yeah, with the clergyman and stuff too. He had him like up to a 3/7, and he was gaining 7 life, and then he'd bounce it back to his hand, and then play it again, and got inspired again, and gained like 100 more life. Like it was pretty absurd.
It's awesome.
Seems cool to me. This guy's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right, moving on to so what's next? We have Ruby next.
Yep.
All right, so Ruby, this is actually our Merciful Tormentor is our first honorable mention card. This is a guy, not really too much we can say about him, right? Like he's really good because when you have no cards, he's a 3/3, and like if you put a bunch of 1-drops and 2-drops, I'm sorry, you're right, 4/4. If you put a bunch of 1 or 2-drops in your deck, it's very easy to get rid of your hand. So very powerful card. Sound good?
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot else to say about him. He's like the quintessential like red, cheap aggro 1-drop. Like you want this guy as a 4/of in all of your Ruby decks, and like even your Ruby wild decks, like versions like the ones that I was playing that had 20 1-drops or whatever. Like he's super good.
Okay, so Austin says, this is a red version of that Angel. It's a good top deck.
Yeah, I mean, like essentially, I mean, it doesn't have flying or steadfast, but like it's still gonna be like a 4/4 on turn 3 or 4. So.
Yeah, like I'm not worried about playing this, like somebody playing this guy on turn 7 against me. What I'm worried about is someone playing a 4/4 flyer with steadfast on turn 2 against me. Also, like, against a control deck, it's really cool to keep that card, for control, against control decks. Like, you dump your hand out, whatever, you keep him back, and then they wipe the board or whatever, and then you bring him down. And it's a 4/4. Like it has its uses, and it's very very good. I think it's in a fine place. I'm not worried about that guy. I don't hate that guy. So Lord Alexander.
Yeah, this guy is like right on the cusp of being like super good. The fact that they took away speed for himself kind of makes me hate the card like a little more. But like I think it's like the 4th or 5th best Ruby card. Like it's very very strong. We just have to see some more cards that could really like combo with it or whatever. Like I think a Sapphire Ruby inspired deck would be much better than the Diamond versions. So we'll see, because he's really good with the guy that lets you draw cards, the inspired draw card guy, because he also costs 3.
Yeah, someone was saying that isn't this guy a piece of the combo, like the Plan C combo or whatever? I'm not very familiar with that deck or how that works, but I know I heard someone say about that. Exactly how does that work? Like how does that deck work?
It's Tad's new favorite deck. So
I've heard Tada talk a lot about it. Actually, like I didn't want to embarrass him, but actually I heard Tada say that it's his favorite deck in the format.
Alright, so I actually hate the Plan C deck. I actually think it's barely viable at all and might be tier 3 at best. But the way that it works is it's Sapphire Ruby, and you play cards like Yesterday to clear the way, like Oracle Song to draw cards, and what you're trying to do is cast Yesterday to bounce everything, and then untap and play Lord Alexander, and then followed up with Plan C for like 3 or 4 robots and attack for like lethal.
Which takes all your mana away by doing this, right?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Like against decks that play Blood, it's not viable at all. Like it's actually not even possible to combo your opponent if they know what they're doing at all. Against Sapphire, they can probably stop it pretty easily with like their own Yesterday or Dingler or whatever. I think that the combo is way too fragile. I know that one of our viewers in Dormy is playing that deck, and he actually played it on one of Soldak's Hex Shoutcast things, and he actually comboed out with it in that game, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I don't think the combo deck's very good, but it looks very fun to play.
Sure. It's I definitely had someone play the card Plan C against me. It wasn't the combo deck or anything. He just like on turn 3 he cast Plan C, and he got rid of all of his mana and made like a 3/3 or whatever, and then I just like murdered it.
Yeah, like I don't like the fact that you Armageddon yourself to do some effect that's not even that game winning. So if your opponent's like, cool, murder Lord Alexander and then cast Extinction on the next turn, like you just have no board, no lands against like a Life Siphon deck. So
yeah, for sure. Turn 3 is a terrible play. I know that it is. I think the card is terrible, but like I agree that turn 3. The point of the story was I've only seen someone play that card that one time, so I've heard people, mainly John, talking about how good the Plan C deck was, so I was trying to figure out how that works. So obviously Lord Alexander is a beast to that, and that's fine.
So I had actually played. I took that Endormi deck and deck doctored it last week, and then the deck you're right, it's just not that competitive overall. A lot of times you're right. It's just like it's very fragile when you need those 2 pieces to align just right. It feels like Plan C overall, like I could run it in some sort of like inspired deck, like as a one of, and if it happens, great. Like in the late game, if I get like 5 robots out of it, but in the early game, I'm never going to play it.
It's a fun little combo deck, but like it's just not very viable. So
yeah. The coolest thing about oh shit, what was I even going to say there? Oh no, I mean, I think what's happening now with the Plan C deck is that because we're still in alpha and the game is new, people are going to lose to that kind of stuff. right? People are gonna be like, Lord Alexander, okay, that's fine. Plan C, what the hell's happening to me? Okay, I'm dead. But it's
I
like
beat two fists with it.
but it's one of those decks that's only going to work like once or twice, and then people are going to catch on, and it's not going to be that devastating of a thing. If you ever made the Plan C deck, would have kind of kept it to themselves and maybe took it to a tournament, sure, they might do decent with it. But like now that it's known, it's going to be prepared for, especially when sideboards and stuff get.
I mean, it's a neat card. It's kind of like the Magic card, Devastating Summons. Like, I mean, it's kind of like the same concept, but like it's just. It's just way too fragile of a card. So.
And I don't see how it could ever beat a Life Siphon at any point ever.
Pretty tough.
Well, I mean, we also still don't have counter magic. I mean, that would help. But yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, Counter Magic is another card that makes Plan C just unplayable, in a competitive format.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, our number 3 card for Ruby is Heatwave.
Yep.
Gets not really too much to say about this. 2-drop, deal 2 damage to each troop.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a Pyroclasm effect. Like, it's very necessary, and that's why it's in the top 3. Like, it's one of 2 board sweepers in the entire set 1. And
there's 3.
Well, there's Judgment too, I guess.
There's that green or
there's
whatever.
The green one
wild.
too. Yeah, sure.
I tried playing that one. Yeah, I lost
counts.
a troop. My opponent lost one troop, and there were like 5 troops on the board, so the board state went down to like 3 troops, and I was like, well, that was underwhelming for 9 or 8.
That card's like pay 8 and maybe kill some troops in play.
Right.
So.
It needs a rework.
I'm sure it'll get a rework. I'm sure it'll be different.
Yeah. Pay 8. Hopefully, do something.
Yeah.
That's how I like to spend my 8 mana.
Pay 8. Cross your fingers.
And then after that, you can Plan C yourself.
So yeah, there's not much to say about it. Like it is what it is, and it's pretty good at what it does.
Sure. Yeah, very good. Obviously, these kind of effects are necessary to keep aggro in check. Which, to be surprisingly, a lot of the red decks, a lot of the aggro decks in general, can play around that card pretty. Like you have what? Like, can you even? I don't think you can even heat wave a gas troll in turn 2. Like it'll probably be a 3/3 or 4/4. Like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the play, then you could heat wave a gas roll, but like.
Yeah, sure.
It can happen.
Your second card was what is your second card, John? Like it wasn't on the
Gore Feast. No, Gore Feast of whatever the name of the card is.
Here it is. Gore Feast of
Cog to Pedal, whatever.
To Pedal.
So, what this card is? It's a 4-cost basic action. In fact, I don't know if he has it in the.
Nope.
Let's see. Card. Well, it's 2 words. Gore Feast.
Oh, is it 2 feet? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, there it is.
There it is.
So 4-cost, double threshold. Troops you control get rage 1, and you get an extra attack phase. All of your guys untap, and you attack again. So this is a game ender. Someone was suggesting that it's not as good as I think it is, and that may be true because I haven't been able to test it. But just from looking at the card, I feel like it's exactly what Ruby decks want to be doing. So I think it'll see play a lot more than what people expect. Probably not as a 4-of, but as like a 2-of finisher. It's certainly very, very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. Also, at first glance, it seems very OP with the Plan C decks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, anything else?
I mean, right there, you just helped build the combo. You've made it competitive.
That's
you
what I like to do.
It's like you tap out all your mana, you go Plan C, you go Gore Feast, and you just swing it.
Yeah, but it's also worth noting that all of your guys gain rage 1 this turn. So even if you only have 2 or 3 guys out, you attack, all your guys get rage 1, and then you untap, and then you attack again, they all get rage 1 again. So that's 6 extra damage right there just from 3 troops. So.
Yeah, it can definitely help aggro deck get underneath an extinction if they're on the play.
Yeah, that's the main.
Or if they rebuild after an extinction, get 1 or 2 dudes out there, then play this, it's just a huge damage swing right into them after getting their board wiped.
Yeah, I think the card is very, very strong. I mean, any effect that I'm not gonna say breaks the game, but changes the rules of the game into your favor is always very powerful. So obviously, getting to attack twice when everyone else gets to attack once is pretty strong.
I mean, I don't think that the card is, oh my god, this card's amazing, because as we'll see later, it's not even in my top 10 list of cards in the game, but it's certainly powerful for Ruby. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so moving on to the number 1 card in red, which I don't think will surprise anyone here, but is old Ragefire. There he is. This thing's so mad. Alright, 2-drop. You guys know what Ragefire does. I'm not going to explain it again. Deals 2, escalation. Pretty important card in the meta currently. Very strong, very tough to deal with, especially if they have all 4 in their hand to start.
Yeah, it's
Right, you just lose. It's like,
it has the benefit of being an escalation card, and the fact like I have so many escalation bad beat stories, and I've only been playing the game for what, like not even a month now, and like it's just like I've also like been the one who has done the bad beats by having hands where it's like Ragefire, 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 land, burn, Tormentor, like whatever, and it's like cool, 20 of you. So I mean, it's just,
I guess I'll 20 you. That's fine.
you know,
Good game.
like the way I think that they should make escalation cards work is do like what they're doing now, except increase the cost each time by like maybe 1, or even like double the cost would be way too like stupid. But making it cost 1 extra each time would, I think, be fine. It's just escalation. Maybe it's balanced. Like maybe I'm just over exaggerating, but I just don't think it's very balanced.
Yeah.
no.
I think it's very strong. Very strong card. Like I actually had a game I played against a kid who mulliganed to like 5 or something, and he actually just back-to-back 4 Ragefire me and killed me.
Yeah, I lost to a guy on like my stream the other day where he mulliganed to 5 and he kept 1 Sapphire shard and 4 Chronic Madnesses, and I lost the game like very quickly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like it was so stupid.
Chronic
I
Madness.
guess we
is
know
so
what the number 1
bad.
Sapphire card is going to be.
Not Chronic Madness.
So what you're saying is the top 5 cards should just be all the escalation cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different options. I mean,
Like-
to fix escalation in general. I mean, we can make it additive. We could give it a top end where it can't go past this point. There's a lot of different things we could do.
I think additive is fine. We talked about
Yeah.
that before, but I think
Ragefire and Crash Beast are the two best escalation cards, and it's probably by a pretty wide margin.
Sure.
I mean, Eternal Youth's also up there, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the 3rd best, but like I think the other 2 are just so far ahead of it though.
Yeah, they're way far ahead of it.
The black one's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they changed the cost on the black one to 2, so like
Oh,
it's
did they?
yeah, so it's much
I
better
know.
than what it was.
What does the black one do again?
Draw a card from your opponent's deck,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and it becomes 1 black threshold.
Yeah, so that's cool. All right, so move on to Sapphire. We'll start with the first honorable mention, which is Buccaneer, my boy. Look at him. He actually looks exactly like me. I don't care what anybody says. That's me. On the off times, I cruise the seas with my sword and my boots and those pants, and I just shit on people. I rob boats.
He does look like someone that would shit on people.
He does. I do.
He just
I'm
stands above them.
sorry. I stand above them. I'm like, you peasant. Go get me my boot
Just
polish.
hangs his cheeks over the sides of the ship there. I mean,
Shaganeer, for sure.
You can see,
I
you can
think
see him in
that
the
looks
picture.
like me with hair.
Nah, I'm not getting that at all, actually.
all lies, John.
Yeah,
No, you never had
old,
hair.
Not old enough, really.
Mm.
So anyway, Buccaneer, very powerful card. I'm super pumped that it's in beta now, or alpha. It's really cool. I love playing with it. Very strong. Like him, the best. He's the best card. He's on my number 1 list. He's actually consists of the first 3 cards on my number 1 list. I like him a lot. Cool. John, why did you put him in your list, man?
Just for all the reasons that you said, he looks like you. He has a really big sword. He has some sweet boots.
Sure.
Nice haircut that I'm very envious of. Like
Very nice.
He has hair, so obviously.
yeah, he has hair.
Figure
No, but like
Right there.
he's
Plus one
essential
hair.
to tempo decks. Like without this card, tempo decks couldn't exist right now. And he's very powerful alongside of cards like Warlock Inquisitor and several other 3-drops that do awesome things. And he'll be around for quite a while. Like he's a very solid card for the Sapphire mid-range decks.
Yeah, I agree. That blue-black tempo deck's starting to creep around a little bit too, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. So this guy's a big staple in that deck as well. Sean, Charles, anything to add on Shaganeer?
No, it's just exactly what you said. I mean, I love the fact that we're trying to bring some tempo to the scene. It's not quite there yet, but he's definitely giving it more viability now.
Yeah, I mean, tempo is the hardest deck to make, and definitely the most powerful once you do make it. Basically, in my opinion, I think it's the toughest to pull off. But if you pull it off, it's very, very strong. Our second honorable mention was Meditate. I like that a lot. I think it's a good card to talk about.
Yeah, meditate. Let me type it in the chat here so people know what it does. But
Does he have it in? Okay.
yeah, all he data mined everything. It's all in there.
Awesome.
But so if you played
He's
Magic,
amazing.
this card is Impulse for 1 extra mana, basically. Like Impulse was one colorless and 1 blue, whereas this is just 2 blue. But you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand and the rest on the bottom. Like it's essentially probably the best card draw spell in set 1, even though it's not even an actual card draw spell since you get no cards from it. But like it's very powerful. Like I really love the card, and like I think we'll see it played quite a bit.
For sure, I like it a lot. I think it's really neat. For surely worth talking about. Like the card itself is
Yeah.
very.
And it's quick action, so that's pretty relevant too. So.
All right, so that's that card. All right, so moving on to the first card of Sapphire, which is the Ancestor Shows. And this guy trolled me so hard. Like the first time I played, I was building the deck around him, and like I needed 4 cards left my deck, and I was like, Ancestor Chosen, no problem. And I kept looking under the A's for him. I couldn't find him. I'm like, what the hell? I couldn't. It took me like 5 minutes to realize someone in my stream was like, Shaggy, you're an idiot. It's the Ancestors Chosen.
Yeah, this card was actually kind of brought up in conversation in Neo's stream earlier. LL Cool Dave, which is a viewer who's also in our chat right now, I believe, brought up that he didn't really care for this card that much, and I was kind of curious why he thought so. And he emailed me some stats, on this card that are pretty relevant. So you have to assume that you play him on turn 1 and he sticks around the entire time. But the chances of drawing, a Spectre on a certain turn is on turn 2 you have a 3% chance to draw one. Well, 3.64. On turn 3 it's 7.14. Turn 4 is 10.5. Turn 5 is almost 14, and so on and so forth. So, like, I don't think that those percentages are that bad. Like, I think if you give me on turn 5 a 14% chance to draw, a Spectre, or a 31% chance up to that point to play at least a Spectre, like I'll take those odds. Like, I think that's perfectly reasonable for a 1-drop 1/1.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that's fine. I think it's cool to see stats. I think it's going to be neat once the game gets closer and closer to release. The Soulback. He's actually unbanned now. I unbanned him. Just like seriously, though, guys, please don't spam the channel. It's like really immature to do that. But I think that once the game gets further in the release and people start doing more statistics on like this card and Pack Raptor and stuff, it's going to be really interesting to see the actual stats of like what we see.
But like I like this guy. Like I really like, even though the stats might not be the best for him, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, he's super powerful. You know what I mean? Like he shuffles in cards into your deck that like draw a card for 1 resource.
For sure. Like what Fitzel here said. He said like this is a card that Hex was made for. And like exactly, like it's gonna be even harder for us to evaluate cards like this as well, because we've never seen stuff like this before. This is a new thing. So
yeah, it's very digital, which is really sweet. But I have this guy right now as a 4 of in all of my Sapphire control decks as well as mid-range decks. And like, I was going over my streams the other day, and I have like 100% win rate when I play this guy on turn 1. Like, he's that powerful. Like, maybe I'm super lucky and kind of like cheat the odds, but like I always draw those Spectres, and like a few times I drew them like on turn 2, which is kind of cool.
Sure.
So
I really like this card. I mean, I keep trying to get Dwarves to work because I feel like they have a good chance of actually drawing a decent amount of cards. And they go in there with Sapphire Dwarves. But obviously, Dwarves still aren't viable. Hopefully, in the future, they will be once we get some sort of plans that actually work online. I understand now Inspiration Engine is working, but that's rather random, so it's probably not really viable. Actually, the other plans card, though, seems more viable to me. The one that makes a 5/5 guy with Crush. it costs 2. That one seemed pretty good. But yeah, going back to the chosen, not trying to bunny trail too much. I draw those specters a decent amount, and then also you got to think about how it is that when you have those 2 resources in your hands, like sometimes you may not want to put them in play because now you've got to you want to draw more resources. So same thing like with Pack Raptor.
For sure, man. I agree. I think another thing to keep in mind too is this card is actually a lot of people are I've seen say stuff like, well, I don't like playing this card on turn 1 because it gets cycled in my deck and then I might not draw a land, and it's like, I mean, I guess, but he draws you a card when you play him.
Yeah,
So like,
it's like,
right.
but man, you didn't draw a land, but shit, you got a 1 mana 2/2 flyer. That must be awful.
Yeah, sure. So
But,
like,
right.
And then you draw the land.
Yeah, like
exactly.
Then you draw the land.
like
yeah,
Dave was
there's both
comparing it
sides.
to a giant dust wasp from Magic, which was like some suspend 5 mana 3/3 that you can suspend for 2. But like I think that's like
No,
the
that's
most
not close.
ridiculous, like comparable cards. But I don't know. Like that doesn't make sense to me, but maybe it would to like somebody else. Like I don't know.
You know, I just thought of whenever Charles said inspiration engine and random. I was thinking, like you remember those like those bumper stickers and shit that were like really really popular back in the day that had like the little kid and he was like pissing and like he was pissing on like the Ford logo or like
Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, whatever it was. I don't know like who that is or what that is.
Calvin.
Okay, but like you know what I'm talking about. Like I need to get one of those that's like the guy pissing on random, just the word random. like that's how much
I'm
I
sure
hate
we could get you something like that.
You think
It's
we
like
could?
fisting on RNG.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on to our second card, and the Sapphire. Actually, our second card's not on here either, right? That's another card that you had that was like different.
Oh, the Time Warp.
Yeah, Mastery of Time. Which
Second card is Mastery of Time, yeah, which I'm sure it's in the database here. Card Mastery of. So Mastery of Time is a 5 cost. So if you played Magic, the card is Time Warp. With the downside of you have to RFG it. So, all right, Dave, I will argue forever about Ancestors Chosen. Like I just don't agree with you, but I can see your point. But so Mastery of Time is a Time Warp, which in this game is probably going to be very good, especially in like the wild Sapphire like tempo type decks.
Sure.
So that's why it's on the list. It's the only card in the game currently that lets you take an extra turn.
Tell you what, it's really good in like a diamond Sapphire like control deck type thing where you have the Transcendent out. And you just like draw a card, play it, get an extra turn, next turn, draw that, choose that card, and draw it again. Like I'm trying to say, like you actually can cast it 4 times.
Yeah.
Does that make
Right.
sense? Like I don't know if that makes sense. So like I guess that's pretty neat. Like sure.
Yeah, I like the card. I mean, it's definitely you're going to want it in that rampy Sapphire Wild deck. I think it's really good that it voids itself because that allows us not to have someone go into infinite turns, which is annoying.
Sure.
But other than that, I mean, taking extra turns is always good. It's like, but sometimes you're going to take that extra turn and you might as well have just played something that drew you a card. So there are times when that's going to happen as well. So it'll feel like that sometimes.
Sean, what do you think about Mastery of Time?
I mean, like I said, it's definitely it's Time Warp, so it's really good whenever you're head on board.
Yeah.
Other times it'll just be take another turn, draw a card, play an extra resource.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One card I was interested in, I didn't see in your list at all, John, in Sapphire was the constant that's like, what is it, like the silence? I forget what it's called exactly. It's the constant that like comes in with like 4 counters on it, and your opponent can't play actions.
I think I'm going to play with 5 counters actually,
really?
but it was because your opponent can take the counters off of it, and it's also very bad against aggro. Like I just kind of didn't really include it,
Fucking did that
but
one, goddammit. You didn't like it? Let's see.
Silencio.
Yeah, there it is. 1 cost, 1 blue threshold. This constant enters play with 5 silence counters. Opponent champions can't play actions.
Right.
But they have to pay 1 mana to remove counters, then they can obviously play it.
Right, it's
Yeah.
like standstill-ish.
It's like standstill. Obviously
kind
not
of.
as good, but like
Yeah, not as good
it's
as
like
standstill.
the
but-
problem with this card is that it's probably only good against control decks, and in that case, like they probably don't have anything to do with their turns anyway, other than just take their counters off of it. But like come to think of it though, if you're playing like some sort of aggro or mid-range deck, this card would be really good if you have like 3 or 4 troops in play and play
Yeah, and then,
this,
like,
so
on
your
turn
opponent
4,
can't
like,
cast
play
like
it.
Extinction.
Yeah, exactly. Like that seems
Yeah.
pretty good. Like I don't.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a pretty good sideboard card, but I can't really see
Extinction
playing this
costs
main
9.
deck. Yes, yeah,
Or no, well 8. Or no, 9. 9. Yeah.
5 plus 4
Yes.
is 9, right?
Public math.
Yeah.
Public math. Yeah.
Sounds like a card that could go into the tempo deck then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like as a tempo card, I think it's pretty powerful. I mean,
Yeah, and it protects your monk, like someone's saying too. Which is worth saying.
yeah.
Right,
But like
yeah.
John said though too, I never really thought about too much. Like, wow, I mean, it's pretty apparent, but like it's pretty bad against aggro. Like they're just I don't give a fuck about that card.
Yeah, they're like, cool, I can't play this burn, and until I feel like paying 5. It's like whatever, play all these dudes.
Kill you, sure. All right, so our number 1 Sapphire card is Counter Magic. So
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised you chose Counter Magic. To be honest, I don't get me wrong, I love counter spells, but I was surprised you picked counter. But I guess
It's just very format defining. Like it's like stupid good against Life Siphon decks. It's very good against all the mid range and control decks. It's hard to get excited over like a cancel, but the fact that it makes it cost +2 is, or make all the other cards cost +2 is very relevant. And if you counter one Life Siphon, all their other ones become that much worse. And you're like it. This card will be very format defining.
I agree. Like,
my opinion.
every time you hear people talk about Life Siphon decks, they're always like, it's not going to be as good whenever counter magic gets in the game. And it's like, well,
we'll see.
Like, you're right. I mean, like,
Find out.
it's obviously going to be a lot easier to deal with, but like, I think that does also increase the value of counter magic because it has good spells to counter. Also, in like the tempo deck we're talking about, being able to basically counter magic their extinction or whatever, and then they can't actually play their extinction next turn.
I mean,
is
like,
a big deal.
Let's think about what the best decks in the game are right now. All right, so we're looking at Life Siphon decks
Fist.
and Fist decks.
Yep.
So counter magic is amazing, like against Fist. It's like, cool, counter your Fist, now it costs $1 million. And like against Life Siphon, it's like, cool, counter your Life Siphon, now all your other ones suck. And like if you counter even Warlock Inquisitor, like he costs just 5 base. So I mean that's already also very, very good. So
You're for sure right. No, like I said, I love counter magic. I think once counter magic and this silence or disruptive silence gets in the game, I think we're going to see tempo decks get a huge power increase. Like we talked about, being able to counter extinction and then play out disruptive silence is like really annoying. Like then you can't even play it like the next. Like I can see some cool combos going off with it and some definitely ways to secure the board with both counter magic.
and like what Dave is saying, like I also agree that 3 mana is very expensive, but when we consider what the best cards in the game are right now, it's very good at stopping those cards, which is all that matters. So
Yeah, most of the removal in the game costs 3, so I mean, why wouldn't this cost 3
like
right
3
now?
is like the magic number in this game. Like
2
I'm
blue
telling you.
counterspell was way too much. I'll tell you that much.
I'm telling you guys, like I used to look at cards in this game from a magic point of view, all right? And I learned very quickly that you cannot do that for Hex. And I know that once you guys start playing the game and testing decks, you'll also see this, that like 3 is the magic number in this game. Like it's not 1 or 2 like magic is, like it's 3. So if a card costs 3 or less with an effect like this, it's perfectly playable.
Yeah, I
Now,
think once
4 is when you have to start thinking, okay, maybe this card costs too much.
Yeah, sure. I think once more sets come out, obviously, sure. Like cards like this, we're gonna look back and be like, why the fuck do we ever play counter magic? But like, currently, like you said, this is the best we've got. So it's fine. Like I don't.
Right. Yeah, I think that if they're going to come out with any more counters at all, like, and they're going to cost less, they need to have some sort of other drawback, like can only counter troops or can only counter spells or, something like that, or can only counter quick actions.
Sure. I mean,
I would like to see more counter magic than just this, personally, but I understand that they're trying to go for non-negative play. Play experiences for players, and it's kind of a negative play experience to have someone just be like permission the whole time, and you're like, can I play this? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Can I play this? No, I don't like that. That's a negative play experience. So we definitely don't want to go that far with it, but at the same time, I would like to see more counter magic personally.
Yeah, I agree. That's counter spells too are one of those things where you want to be very, very careful with making them, because if you make them too powerful, it's very unfun to play the game.
Right.
It's very unfun to get countered out. So moving on to our last caller. Oh, Wild. Starting with our first honorable mention, Jadim, which is, by the way, the hardest card in the game to spell.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's got
Double
4
eyes.
letters in it.
See, then that's why it's hard. It actually has 6 letters in it.
Yeah, but 4 different ones. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 5 different letters. Like that's tough.
Say what? The double I
Wrong
throws people
twice.
off. Yeah.
So
It's hard to
anyway,
spell.
this
Shut up,
card
John.
is actually different now. So the way that the new version is it's a 5 cost now. It's a 5 cost 5/5 with flight with the same ability with 3 wild threshold. So the card is, in my opinion, like by far the best dragon. Like I don't think there's any debate there. That is better than the black one, and it's better than the blue one that was previewed from set 2. But like he's going to be a pretty staple card, I think, in the ramp decks as well. So I mean, you know, playing this guy on turn 3, followed up with like a turn 4 fist or something, and you're looking at like an 11/11 flight that your opponent like has to kill, right? I mean, that's pretty insane. Or I guess yeah.
At least you can extinction it or murder it. At
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, right.
So
Like
in the
it's
caller that
much
doesn't
more
need
vulnerable. Yeah.
Like that's actually what's making me mad right now. Like I just said, like that this creature is in the caller that actually does not need it. Like it makes it even more frustrating that green gets yet another crazy fucking card that like you have to deal with or it's going to shit on you. Like it's very, very terrifying that they keep giving green that many cards or wild or fucking whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I think they need to be really careful with these kind of cards they're bringing out with wild currently.
Do you think this would be as bad if was it Chlorophilia was more like Ranger's Path where it costs 4 because it gives you 2 resources? And Ranger's Path does that. You think that it would be this still just be just as bad? I mean, everything would be a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Like I have no problems with Chlorophilia. I don't mind it.
Yeah,
No, I don't either.
Really sweet. I like Chlorophilia a lot.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
So,
Right,
yeah, but you know the Green Dragon though, old Jadim, he'll be seeing quite a bit of play. He's very hard to kill if you're not playing Blood. You know, like outside of Enter Conflict and like Dingler,
Chaos
I guess.
Key.
Yeah, Chaos Key. So
Not to
you know, like
Dingler.
we need to have some kind of recording that we just press, and it's like, how do you kill this troop if you're not playing Blood? It's like Dingler, Chaos Key,
Chaos
and
Key.
Conflict. Like,
We'll just get one of Charles' kids to do it. Just have him like hit
I'll
a button.
record that
and-
later.
yeah,
the
the blue dragon is called Zidu, and he I forget what he does, but like he has a ton of text on him, and it's really convoluted and like not that good.
Yeah, it's also a set 2 card.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a set 2 card. So
I
like
I have it saved.
it could change like drastically, but like he's set 2.
So anyway, our last honorable mention card is Eye of Creation, which shouldn't surprise anybody that has any idea what this card does because it's absurd.
Well, the red dragon hasn't even been shown yet. Like, there's a card called Wrath of Zakir that like turns you into the red dragon, but like the actual like red dragon card like isn't in game yet. He might be set 2, he might be set 3. Like I don't know.
Right.
But so Eye of Creation, sure, Neo, yeah, 3, yeah. I mean, like Zidu might be fine, but we'll talk about him once set 2 comes around. But Eye of Creation is slightly changed now. Let me see if Weber has it. I'm sure he does.
Does it still cantrip itself or whatever? Does
Yeah,
it still cast
so
itself?
It still cantrips itself. It's still the same. 3 cost, 3 wild threshold. You know, it says legendary now. I don't know what that has to do with anything. But rarity. Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay.
But so you reveal the top X cards of your deck and put all troops into play this way. So it doesn't matter what they cost, they just come into play. So in a way, it's better for your heavy troop decks, but it's far less powerful if you're trying to like combo with like non-troop spells. So, you know, playing this on like, you know, turn 3 or 4 to ramp into like a, you know, eye for 3 or an eye for 4 on like turn 4, like if you flip over like Jadim and Fist and, you know, cards like that, it's just super powerful.
Yeah, I think it's still powerful. I mean, it was powerful before. I think it's still.
Yeah, the
powerful.
threshold seems hard, but like you'll only play it in like the green ramp decks. So like the threshold is kind of irrelevant. Like it could be 6 threshold and it wouldn't matter.
Sure, and let me tell you how like green has no lack of good creatures to hit off of this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, with Howling Brave and Chlorophylla, like, getting to 3 green threshold is like the same thing as like you going to bed at night. Like it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
All right.
That's like playing that one that's it's the 1/2. It gets flying and spell shield, but you have to have 3 threshold in play. It was like, yeah, that felt like that was a bit much as well, because you're going to get there.
For sure. I mean, I agree. Anyway, so our third card for Wild is Crash of Beasts. Create 1 Rhinoceros and put it into play. Escalation on the 1.
Yeah, this card is like, I'm actually so angry right now because this card has been in game since the beginning of Alpha, and like it just doesn't work.
Doesn't do anything.
Like, I don't understand why they don't just like take it out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this card's broke. All you new players, come play Hex, cast Crash of Beast. Nah. So it's just
Get mad.
They probably just haven't added the actual rhinoceros part of it.
Well, but that's funny.
They keep
because,
talking
like,
about
the gem
rhinoceroses.
works. Like the
They just
Rhino
don't
gem
exist.
works. So it's just like, I have seen rhinos in play. Like, they exist, but for
Like
some
a
reason
white
this
elephant
card
gift,
just
but it's a
won't
rhinoceros.
populate them.
It's funny because every time a new patch comes out and I stream, that like literally the first 20 questions I get is, does Crash of Beast work yet?
I'm telling you, like Neo has to be tired of me by now, because every time a patch comes out, I go to his stream like at noon, and I'm like, "Hey, does Crash of Beast work?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Cool, see you later."
Unfollow, see you later.
Wow, dud.
Yeah, I really want this card to work, and I really
Forget
feel
about
like
reading the patch
it's-
notes.
Yeah, like I feel like it's the best escalation card, but I can't put it ahead of Ragefire yet because I can't physically test the card.
I want to know like what fucking cryptozoic developer got like lost during a safari or something and a rhino saved him, because like like I don't know what their love for rhinos are, but like I can feel like every good card is like have something to do with the goddamn rhino. I don't understand. It may be too simple.
I don't know what the bug is. Like, it could be something as easy as misspelling a card name. Like, I doubt it's that easy though, but
I'm
it could
thinking
be.
the rhinoceros is just not there.
I just don't know why it doesn't exist. So,
It's a phantom rhino.
I don't know.
All right, so that's number 3. Very good card. I wish we could talk more about it. Unfortunately, not able
Only
to.
Eye of Creation could chain into it.
Right? Yeah, you're
Yes.
right. That card's probably bad now.
Yeah.
Wild Root Dancer. This guy is absurd. I still watch people, on turn 4 play a resource and play this guy out. That seems to be. They should make a card called Shaggy of all beasts.
Yeah, Wild Root Dancer is like the ideal 3-drop. Like, every 3-drop in Hex like wants to be Wild Root Dancer. So, like, it's probably the second or third best troop in the entire game, and it's very, very, very format defining.
Real quick, John, off the top of your head, name the top 3 troops in the game.
Wild Root Dancer, Fist of Brigadin, and
Don't say Gastrol.
no, probably Vampire King, like
So
that. Or
2 of the 3 are wild.
yeah, two of the 3 are certainly wild. Like, I don't think it's even close.
So that's absurd to me.
Yeah, Gastrol's in the top 10 for sure, though.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'd say if you went to
Top
top
10
10, they'd be like
troops right
eight
now,
eight green troops. That would be,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Right
So-
now,
yeah.
But like the
there's more to
2
go.
best troops are clearly like Root Dancer and Fist, and like the 3rd best troop is like one of the Blood ones, like either Vampire King or the Warlock Inquisitor. Like, those 2 are both pretty close.
Yeah, I never forget. I was playing this card like a bunch and had a good time playing it. It was a lot of fun, and then I drew him on turn 3 or whatever, and I played my resource out and passed turn. And people on my channel were like, "Oh, Shaggy, don't forget to play your resource, after you played him next turn." I was like, "Guys, listen, I never do that. Trust me, I won't do that." And like the next turn, I was like, "Resource, play it!" And I was like, "Ah!" Like, I just looked at my camera, was like, "I am the worst player ever." So like, I like that this card requires a little bit of skill to play it, no matter how,
mundane.
mundane that it might be, but there will still be people who just misplay this card, and it's really cool. I like that the card is powerful, but at least requires you to fucking learn how to play it in what order.
A
So I
lot of
think
Root
that's
Dancers added at least 3 or 4 misplays to my misplay counter.
exactly
for
right.
sure.
Like I mean, like sure, like it doesn't happen all the time. Like I'm sure John does it every time he plays it, but
Yeah, I always play my land first and then play Root Dancer, like every time. I'm really bad at this game.
I
He
guarantee
always
it.
plays everything first main phase.
For
Yeah.
sure. I actually have started to do that now.
We
I'll
get
play-
2 main phases?
2?
Let me tell you how if you click a little too fast, you might not know there's a second main phase because that shit's so
Yeah.
easy to skip.
I have skipped entire
Oh my
turns.
God.
Like, I was saying on stream the other day that like every third game, I'm just like following chat. I'm like, cool, spacebar. I'm like, oh, cool, go ahead.
Wait,
I don't want to take this turn. So,
I love how John says he never plays this guy before playing the land, and immediately follows it up with "I skip entire turns" by hitting spacebar.
no,
Good argument,
it's just kind of funny. Like
Goddamn background.
I'll skip whole turns
Pattern
because I
rejects
don't
that
see
turn.
the thing on top. Like I don't know why they don't move like the turn reminder thing, like over by the timer. But
Or just
look,
like a little warning, and it's like you're about to skip your fucking entire turn, idiot. Are you sure that's what you want to do? Like,
yeah.
nah, I'm sorry, I'm bad. Okay, John Tata, no big deal.
I mean, he's got to give people a chance. Like he's like, oh, I'll take a turn or 2 off. We'll take whatever.
Whatever.
So anyway, what's the
What's
What's
number
the
one
number
card?
one
I don't know.
card?
Maybe
Oh, Fist.
maybe the Fister here.
Fist of Brigadon? So it's no surprise that this guy is the best wild card. Like he's clearly the epitome of the color, like, or the shard wild. Like it's he's insane. Like I can't really say too much about this guy.
I mean,
He's the poster child of all Hex troops.
listen. His downside is he's hard to splash. It's fine.
Sure, yeah. He's
downside
very difficult
is
to,
that
to
he'll
splash.
block for you 1 turn and then be ridiculous.
Like
Oh,
he
and
is.
also, he has to attack each turn. Yeah.
He
sorry.
needs to be legendary, like not rarity, like actual legendary
Unique.
on
Right.
card. And the fact that he is legendary rarity, that's not even right. He should have his own rarity called like Get Fisted, and it'd be like some other color. And it's insane. This guy is going to be in the game for many years to come, as long as he's standard legal or whatever.
He doesn't have spell shield. It's not that good.
He does not have spell shield.
I'm sure we can find a way to
Right.
give it to him.
Yes, I
He needs a
understand that.
socket.
Like,
A minor
like
socket.
the best argument that I ever see someone say, when it comes to this card is, well, I could play a 2-mana common and kill him. It's like, sure, like that's true, but then you're playing a really bad color, so that's the trade-off that you get.
What's the 2-mana common?
We can play inner conflict.
Enter conflict.
We can conflict them.
And that's the argument is I can interconflict them.
Yes.
Okay,
That
so,
is the best argument people can come up with.
sure,
Is like,
okay, so don't play creatures ever,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
except the ones with spell shield. Then I don't understand the argument.
Yeah, that's the Doomblade. It's bad.
Yesterday, I actually, because this guy is so a card is format defining when you have to play to beat the card. This card is just like one of those cards that you have to play. So yesterday, I actually put together a deck where I came up with 16 cards that could deal with Fist, and I was just going to play a deck around those. I actually whittled it down and came out of Diamonds because, again, just like John always says, I couldn't find anything else to play other than Inner Conflict, so I ended up with 12 removal just for Fist, and I still couldn't deal with it, really.
I mean, like Dusty always says, is I hate when I say that too, because I feel like a lot of people that watch this have not actually met Dusty, so it sounds like I'm talking to myself in the third person, like Dusty says. But anyway, well, like Dusty says, what does he say? Shit, I got all fucking confused now. God damn it, it's
We should call him.
there's always oh shit, John, you know what this is.
he's saying there's no wrong threats.
There we go, yeah,
There's always wrong answers.
There you go. See, why didn't you hook me up earlier,
So-
John? He saw me drowning, bro.
like it doesn't matter what
Lifesaver.
cards kill this guy or kill this guy. Like, he's still a very powerful threat that if they don't have the card in their hand at the time, like, he's going to kill you.
Yeah,
Like,
and very
no
quickly,
matter
too,
what,
like,
you
he's not-
cannot stop him from killing you. Like he has to attack each turn. So even if your opponent is like some monkey that your opponent like tagged in, like, he can't miss the attack. Like, he will turn sideways and he'll attack you for 7. So there's no way around it. Your opponent can't forget to attack you. So it's just it's very, very, very good, and it's also the reason why I think that like, I know I was talking a lot about Blood Sapphire control decks. But I actually feel like that Blood Diamond might actually be better because you can play like Inner Conflict without playing all the other bad like diamond cards.
Sure, and like this is a perfect card for John too. It's probably why it's one of his favorite cards. You know, even if he skips his whole turn, he still gets to hit you for 7. It's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is my favorite card
He actually cannot skip his attack
because
with his
no
guy.
matter how bad I am or what I'm doing, like I can't be like, I forgot to attack.
As long
with
as I got my
fist."
6 resources on turn 3.
Yeah, and playing this guy on turn 3 is like even more absurd. So like you guys might say, oh, that won't happen that often, but actually surprisingly it does.
A lot. All the time.
And I can't wait till Jadim actually gets in the game, so it's like, oh, I have either Fist or
Yeah.
Jadim.
It's like, man, I missed my turn 3 fist, but here's this dragon.
Right.
Yeah, WoW
You,
seems
you
pretty
might
good.
actually play less card draw in there.
For sure. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? If you guys want
Let's go over real quick my top 10 list.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I thought what we
well,
were going to do was just make them
yeah.
go read the article for that, but I guess.
Well, they hopefully have already done that.
So do you want
Or
to talk
go-
about your top 10?
I mean, it's
I mean, do you want to or do you not want to? That's like it's.
You're starting to sound like my wife right now, John.
yeah, I can't make up my
That's
mind.
not a good thing.
It's like a woman. But so Life Siphon is the best card overall. Fist number 2, Root Dancer was 3rd, and then the Rage Fire and Crassive Beast were 4 and 5, and then 6 through 10 you can be kind of in any order that that you like. But
Sure.
like the top 5 I think are pretty non like interchangeable. Like those are probably the top 5 cards, and I think people can mostly come on board with that argument, maybe in a different order, but those are probably the top 5 cards.
Yeah. Why did you add the? I'm surprised you didn't mention the blue flyer that has Spell Shield. That guy seems pretty good to me.
The blue flyer that
You
has
mean the green one?
Storm Colossus?
I
Summon
sure don't. I
flyer?
mean the actual blue one that has like it's a fucking.
Storm Colossus?
Yeah. I guess I don't know.
Oh yeah.
7 mana.
Kind of
like,
one-dimensional.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a really good finisher for Sapphire, but like
I'm
I don't
not
know.
talking about your top 10 list. I mean in your article at all.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, maybe I was going to, but then I took him out because I didn't really feel like talking about him. But he's in my Sapphire control decks as a finisher, and like I definitely like him. So
Did Mimic get mentioned? No, we didn't really talk about Mimic too much.
no, Mimic is just your run-of-the-mill clone effect. It's
Fist
I wanna
dodged
say
the
something.
chaos key so bad. You're right.
I want to say something about
Card's
Mimic
terrible.
that's kind of interesting to me from this standpoint. Most of the time when something has like Spell Shield, like Mimic, you could still Mimic that in Magic. In this game, Mimic targets, which is very interesting to me from like a judging standpoint, that actually works that way. Which so if something was like, what is it, that troll from Magic that you couldn't target, like you used to be able to kill them with a Mimic. So, I mean, it's just something that's a little nuance in this game, and being new to Magic, it was always somewhat annoying for me to have someone mimic something that was untargetable. That was frustrating.
Have you guys seen the new update yet from Cryptozoic on the patch alpha?
They didn't really say much. They just said that they're having their Wednesday game night, and it sucks that we're not there, and they're playing PvE dungeons, and we're all not. That's basically what it says.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
That's nice of them. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet to run the old rubbins on them. They ran the old still have all these trick on us. So
Cool. Well, guys, we're getting ready to shut the cast down here, but we still have some plug-ins to talk about. John's will talk about the guild and stuff, but if you guys have any questions, anything you want to ask us, you're always more than welcome. Also, if you guys have any streams or articles you want to link and show people, you're always more welcome to do that as well. So now would be the time to do that while John's talking about the guilds. I have something to talk about as well. I'm not sure about Charles and Sean, but obviously they might have things to talk about as well. So we're probably going to be done in about 5-10 minutes, so please ask questions or link your stuff now.
yeah, all right. So the guild, real quick, guys. If you haven't seen yet, on the HexTcgPro website,
I'll actually go there on here.
yeah, sure. Right below the header, on the tabs there's a tab for guild membership. So if you click that tab, it takes you to the application, as well as some quick words from me that you probably won't read anyway. But it's our
They're not important.
yeah, it's not important. But our guild is now open for applications, and I haven't actually, like, I've had to turn down like a few people for random reasons, but it's an open guild. All you have to do is apply and fill out these questions. For the very last question where it says Shaggy versus John, if you say Shaggy, I will immediately turn you away.
Mhm.
But
Whoa,
you know,
that's
no,
not
but
true.
seriously, we have currently, I think, 25 or 30 members, somewhere in that range, just in a matter of 2 days, which is pretty amazing to me. That you guys would want to be a part of our community, which blows me away because I would not want to be part of any group that involves Shaggy and Sean. But
Or me.
so
Yeah, how about Charles?
we're,
Whoa, I feel like
we're
Charles should
Charles.
also be kind of included in there.
Charles.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
But
yeah. A lot of screaming children here.
as far as the future,
Weber, I actually put Shaggy wins and still got accepted to the guild. Oh, get shit on, John.
so I'm in the process of setting up a TeamSpeak for us, so that'll be also open. I'll have to put a password on it to protect from bots and spammers, but feel free to share the password with whoever you want. It'll be something easy like Hex, TCG Pro or something, like something stupid that's
Now
easy
I can
to.
program
Get
the bot.
fisted.
But yeah,
Get
it'll
fisted.
have to be there to keep the bots and spammers away. But the TeamSpeak will be huge. Probably be at least 50 to 100 people. Like at some point, once our guild gets larger, again, invite anyone. I'll also set up some other guild only functions that I'm still working out the details for. But again, thank you guys so much for applying and showing interest. Really appreciate it. And there's some big things planned, so it's all exciting for us.
Cool. So the thing I want to talk about real quick before we get out of here, guys, is I probably should have done it at the beginning of the cast, but we still have about 45 viewers, so this should be good as well. I haven't been streaming a lot this week. I got a new video card. I'm all set up. I can actually stream well. But the reason why I haven't been streaming was because I've been working on a cool cause called the Extra Life Streaming Marathon, which is a thing that happens every fall. It happens November 2nd every year, and basically I'll be streaming for 25 hours on Saturday, and all of my proceeds will be going to the WVU Children's Hospital. So basically, it's a organization that does this every year. What I'm trying to do now is get as many Hex streamers involved as I can, because I feel like it's a really good opportunity for us to kind of show the gaming community that our our community is awesome. Like we have, we're just an alpha, but we still have enough people to break into this cause and really help these kids out. So basically, you can sign up at I'll actually link it in chat, but you can. Mouse over here. You can sign up here at extra.life or /life, whatever the hell that thing is, .org. And then you can sign up. Sign up is completely free, guys. It costs you nothing. You can set your goal. You don't have to pay the goal or anything like that if you don't meet it. As soon as you guys sign up, let me know. You can let me know by private. I think that's called a dash. Well, whatever. I don't know if there's some English thing. It's called like a suar. Anyway, you can go there, sign up. As soon as you do, message me through Twitch or through my email, however how you guys know me. Also, I'll show you guys this too. I have a thing up on the general forums about it right here, Extra Life Charity. You can go here. Here is all the details, how it works, what I need from you, a video talking about the cause, and the current streamers that are available. So as soon as you guys give me your contact information, I'll add you on here too. You don't actually have to do it on November 2nd. That's the big thing. So you guys have anywhere between November 2nd till December 31st to do it. So, Shaggy, can I put in a shameless plug for my Kickstarter project? Of course, man. Anything you guys want, please. Always feel free to promote your guys' stuff on my channel. I don't mind at all. So that's what I've been working on, guys. I'm really, really excited to get it. Like I said, we have about 6 or 7 people, ready to go. We have a couple more people that's in the process of adding to the team. We've created a Hex team, so my goal is probably going to be about $500. I set it to $200, and I've actually almost raised $200, not even doing anything. So just from friends and family, just wanting to donate to the Children's Hospital. So I'm going to probably up it back up to $500 or $1,000. So please check it out. Also, next week we will not be doing a HexTcgPro cast. Because me and John will be in California that week for BlizzCon. So what we might do is have Charles do his show or something, and we'll just promote that show for that week. But me and John will actually be at Cryptozoic on that during that week. We're gonna go to Cryptozoic, check them out, and then do BlizzCon stuff as well. So that's why we're not having Yeah,
Sure.
okay, yeah, sure. So, you actually, whenever you sign up, you can choose the Children's Hospital that you donate to, guys. So it's not just West Virginia. It's just you could choose the one closest to you, basically. So that's that, and that's the reason why we won't be streaming next week. Charles, Sean, do you guys have anything else to add or say?
Just doing the typical Fridays. I have my 8 o'clock show that I'll be doing Central Time. So if you guys want to show up for that, I'll be doing a deck doctor. I might have a guest on. I have to talk to somebody. Otherwise, it'll probably just be me. Beyond that, I'm going to look into this Extra Life thing that Shaggy just showed me, and I might try to hop on and at least do some streaming and then point people over to his stream if they want to contribute. I think that might be the best way for me to do this. But other than that, yeah, definitely support Shaggy with his streaming for this Extra Life charity.
Yeah. Also, Charles, if you want to do it, you don't actually have to do all of your hours at one go. Like it's like they want you to, because it's like that's kind of how it's supposed to be. But you can split your hours any way you want. Like you actually even don't have to stream for multiple hours. It's just like kind of what you're supposed to do, but like you don't have to. Like the main thing is just getting the word out there and getting money for these kids because it's such a good cause. I really feel like it's such a good way for us, to really promote the Hex community. Really show people that even though, like I said, we're still in alpha, we still have an awesome community. Like you guys have helped just me and John and Charles and Sean out so much. Like coming to these casts and all the good words. Like I can't play more than 3 games online before I have someone be like, "Are you Shaggy from HexTcgPro?" And I'll be like, "Yeah," and they'll be like, "Thank you so much for all the hard work you've done. I love your guys' site." Like just that stuff means so much to us. I don't think you guys will even ever understand how much it means to have you guys say good things like that for us. So if we could just take one day to help these kids out, I think it'll mean a lot for our community and really show people that we're a bunch of cool guys that to help these kids out. Plus, it's really cool that it's a charity that gamers can do. Like it really makes me mad that like everybody thinks that gamers just sit around and don't do anything all day, or like they're lazy, or they live in their mom's basement or whatever. But like
turn into sniper terrorists.
Sure, definitely turn into sniper terrorists. So it's really cool to have a charity that we can kind of turn that stereotype around and show people that we can do things for the community, we can help people out. So I'm not sure why John's laughing. I don't know why he thinks it's funny, but Sean, do you have anything to say?
Just that hopefully I should start streaming sometime soon. Whenever I get all my cards actually back into my collection, hopefully I can actually start streaming.
Did you lose your cards?
Games.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think the entire weekend I was unable to actually build a deck. I logged in multiple times and did not have any cards to work with. Hopefully that's not a problem. But I've been pretty busy this week. Hopefully on the weekends I'll start actually streaming.
Awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I also
Do you have
if you guys... Oh, go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask if he has his stream to link it so I can add it to my thing.
If you
Yeah,
type /
it's in the list.
Okay.
Aha! Disordia. So.
All right, awesome. Adding that right now.
Charles. Yeah, so. All right, guys. Anything else? Anybody have any questions or anything else to say? John, Charles, Sean, anything else to say, Bubs?
Nope.
That was it.
We do want to apologize that we don't. We're not going to have a show next week. Top stream's the only one that matters. Awesome. Thank you again, D-Weber, for putting him at number 1 on that list.
I mean, anything we could do to increase his ego.
Yeah, that would be.
We need to do that.
He really
Whoever knows.
Also, real quick, I want to say thank you to Anime Dragon, Bittershot, Becker, and Gunafo for following me on Twitch. Thank you guys so much. I always like to do that little shout out when people do that, so thank you again so much for following us. It means a lot. You guys will never know how much it means to us. All the support and help you guys give us is unbelievable. So thank you all very much.
I just applied to the guild. How slow is John? Well, if you're wondering,
he is pretty slow.
Check my email. Like, in fact, there's 2 applications right now. I'm sure I'll get to them probably tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, if you applied, like, you will almost assuredly get in as long as you're not like
Charles.
So, like, there was a guy that I had to turn down because, like, in his like part where he talks about himself, he's like, well, my friends say that I'm a douchebag, and I'm like, well, then that means you're not getting in the guild. I'm sorry, but like, I won't turn you down unless you do something like that. So,
but guys, again, thank you guys so much. Support means a lot. Please check out Extra Life if you guys haven't. I'll be streaming tomorrow probably, so I've been working on like updating my stream to like give a bunch of props to them. So I answered I want to wear Shaggy's skin to the last question. Is that bad? Yes. That's creepy, and I will never meet you. I will run away.
So, in closing, last thing, I promise. If you guys are going to be in BlizzCon or at BlizzCon or in California around Anaheim, like, and you want to meet up, like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, except Austin, he's not allowed. Please don't kill me and take my skin if I meet you. And California. Yeah, but again, we'll be there. I think on Wednesday or whatever. So I think we're gonna go to like Cryptozoics game day or something like that.
Yeah, we'll be there probably next Wednesday, and then whatever the rest of the week. So
yeah. So yeah, Dan invited us there on Gen Con. So we have to kind of get back in touch with them, make sure everything's still okay. But if everything goes the way it was planned back 3 months ago or whatever, we should be there and maybe get some spoilers or get an idea what's going on. Bring back some information, which would be really cool. And,
all right, well, I think that's about it.
All right, that's it for John. Cool. See you, John.
See ya later. Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, Charles, give us an idea of when you want to do your stream next week, and we'll make sure we promote your stream as the HexTcgPro cast for next week.
Yeah, I can do it on the Thursday. That should be just fine. And I might even try. I'll try to hook up with Sean, or maybe even with Dusty. We'll try to resurrect
That'd be
him.
awesome. Yeah, that'd be cool.
So yeah, we'll all be in touch.
All right, guys. Please also don't forget to check us out on Facebook. All that stuff is linked in the plug. I'll do it one more time. That's where we give all the updates on our site and our stream. So please check us out. Like us. We're so close to 600 follow or likes. So please get us up there, guys. That'd be cool. Just to get the 600.
Yeah, on Facebook
really
we're at like around 585 or so. So I mean that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you guys next week. Sean, anything to say?
Nope, that's it.
Charles.
See ya.
Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.